Yeah, Mark, what's going on?
Sitting here in the cold north
The
Canada.
cold, frigid north. Are you further
Yes,
north at what? You're not much further north than
not
I
if
am
you
if you're
are
any.
not if you are in Cape Breton. No,
Uh yeah, Cape Breton. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you're higher than me
Yeah, yeah.
because
Figuratively speaking.
I am southern New Brunswick.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, you're near the south. Okay. Oh, Xavier said he's gonna jump on. That's good. Good. Yeah, so you didn't get any of that snow that I got here. None.
I got some crispy stuff, and I got some ice. You get the layer of ice on everything. Every
Dude,
little, if you know, every little bump has like a little layer of ice on it.
no, 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 no. We got 5 feet of snow here. We got 5 feet. We
That's what
had
we usually get.
This is the most snow that we've seen in like 100 years, man. Like everything has been shut down this week. There's been no school all week for the kids. It's 3 days now, and they canceled it for the next 2 days. Like, nobody's getting any work done. Everybody's either working from home or not working at all. I drove around there. What was it? Yesterday, I tried going out, and like even the main highways are like one lane. Like it's man, it's insane. The most shoveling that I've ever done. I shoveled, I mean, every day for the past like 4 days. I shoveled the end of my driveway when the plow went by, my neighbor's driveway because, she's an older woman. And when I was coming back from shoveling out my neighbor,
You just went
actually,
over and shoveled the old lady's driveway.
yeah, yeah,
Free of charge.
yeah,
You get some
yeah.
major brownie points for that.
It's just,
Be like an
it's just,
older elderly lady.
yeah. I mean, she's a good neighbor and stuff like that, right? It's
Oh, that's
just,
great.
it's just the right thing to do, right?
She was probably looking out the window. Oh my goodness. Look at that young, muscular young neighbor of mine out shoveling. That's so great.
It's funny because
I'm
she
baking
actually,
him some muffins. Did she bake you some blueberry muffins or something?
uh, not as of yet, not as of yet. To be determined. She tagged me on Facebook and thanked me though.
Oh,
Yeah. Now my neighbors are good where I'm at, man. Like I don't mind helping out. I was talking to her when I was shoveling my driveway, and I was dying after I did. Like I'm literally sore, like from having to do the amount that I did. Now, of course, me being me, the second day I had to go out and shovel. Like I said, snowbanks are almost as tall as I am, and I'm 5'7". I did deadlifts that morning. I did like 7 or 8
no.
sets of deadlifts as well as a
I
back workout.
yeah, I've
Then I
learned
went
not
out to shovel.
I've
Oh
learned to
yeah.
not do that. Just so
See,
we usually get that, and it's ruined my workouts, to be honest with you. Like, I would have to shovel in the morning, and by night another one, and by the morning, you got to do another one. Be like 5 days in a row. So and I got a pretty bad back. I don't like to
do
complain
you?
about injuries too much. Well, it's not a brand new back right out of the package, I can tell you that much. But
You got a
it's
few miles on her. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I got a few things wrong with me, and my lower back's one of them. And when I shovel, it springs to life. And if I
Well,
squat or deadlift over like 200 pounds, I can do it, but I will feel it the next day. So I tend to not do that weight
eh,
or shovel. But you have to shovel.
I didn't have a choice. You know,
You don't
I
have a
I
choice.
had to do it. Well, my neighbor said that she was out shoveling and that she was like she's in like her she's never gonna see this, so it doesn't matter if I get it wrong. Like late 50s, early 60s kind of thing, maybe mid 60s. And she said that she was out shoveling and that she was getting chest pains. So I was like, no, no. So I just went and did it. Like it sucked. Everything like it's not really shoveling snow. When the plow goes by, it's shoveling, fucking ice and snow and slush, and it's terrible. But like I said, man, I'm a sucker for punishment anyway, right? So I'll do a full round of training in the morning, then get up and eat. Well, I mean, do a train and then eat, and then I'll go shovel for a bit, and then I'll come in and eat again if I got to go shovel again or whatever. But I'm used to being on the go just from having a physical job and shit like that anyway, right? So it's not really that big of a deal. Come the end of the day, it kind of sucks. But I mean, I got it done. Like I did 3 driveways today. Thank God my partner's parents were shoveled out. I thought that was going to be the next go, but I
Crazy.
avoided that. But yeah, the most snow that we've had in 100 years, man. From what I saw, most snow in 100 years. It's insanity.
You're gonna get a lot more too. You're gonna get what we get there back in 2015, whatever it was.
No, no, no. We're not getting that. That's the end of it. The groundhog saw a shadow. We got all the snow for the winter, all out of the way in one storm. That's the end of it. There's
Groundhog
no
Day,
more.
yeah. Did you watch
Yeah.
the movie? Did you watch Groundhog Day, the movie?
No, I did
Bill
not.
Murray? You don't
It's a
like that
good.
movie?
Nah, it's a good movie. I
Okay.
just didn't watch it this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a good movie.
Me and my
Yeah.
wife
No.
watch it every year on February. We watched it a day late this year.
So you did watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now I did not get around to that. I've actually been watching something though. It's on Netflix. It's called You Are What You Eat. Have you seen this one?
No.
No.
I watch very
It
little. If I go to eat, I'll put something on that I'll put a wrestling tape on or something. I don't
okay.
watch TV.
Okay.
I don't watch any TV.
Well, this one here is on the only thing I have is either I have YouTube, Netflix, I've got Disney. Anyway, those are the
Yeah,
major ones.
we get all that. She has that on her TV.
Yeah, but but
And I
but
asked
this
permission if I can watch TV. Can I watch TV?
but you
So
can't watch anything on your phone. You don't have one.
no, that's good though.
Hey, everybody's jealous of you, man. Honestly, low key, everybody is. But this show, You Are What You Eat, it takes 22. Yeah, exactly right. It takes 22 twins. They're identical twins.
Oh, the wife was watching that. She was watching
See,
that. She actually called
see,
me out because there was a bodybuilder. There was these two guys, and their dad was a bodybuilder. She's
yep.
like, "Oh, Max Muscle, do you know this guy?" And I'm like, No, he's not that famous." I said he might have been on Pumping Iron because there was a dude on Pumping Iron. And I put Pumping Iron on. And I'm like, "Is this the guy?" I don't know. It might not be him.
Man, I don't know. I saw there was a couple of guys on there that trained, and I'm into like the third or fourth episode. Um, but what they do, well, if you know anything about it, for anybody that's watching, what they do is they took 22 identical twins, and they put one of the twins on an omnivore diet, and they
Yep.
put one of the twins on a vegan diet. And then
Yeah.
they did things like a DEXA scan analysis to find out how their body composition changed. They would follow them on their journey through well, the whole process of having to eat the food, prepare the food. For the first 4 weeks, they gave them food. I think it was actually Trifecta that provided the food to begin with. Who don't sponsor this channel, but get a hold of me, Trifecta. But what they did was, after the 4 weeks, they actually had to prepare the food themselves. And that's where things kind of got interesting, right? And I don't want to spoil everything for everybody, but it was an interesting show. Like, well, it has been so far.
Well, yeah, it's
The
a
only thing,
series
the
of
only
events.
thing, yeah, and it there hasn't really been a study like it, according to, well, the people that are putting this out anyway. It's interesting because the health markers definitely do change for both, no matter what diet you're on. The body compositions do change for better or for worse. They do account for the activity level. So they actually do have, criteria for how much exercise was done. And hey, bud. um, oh, he's going to be, yeah, the screen is disappearing. Yeah.
Could just see him for a second and flashed in and
Yeah.
flashed out.
The toilet flooded. The toilet flooded. Great. Do you guys need my help? You do. Mark, hang out for 1 second, dude. Okay, hang out for 1 second. Holy shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, the toilet is flooded.
Yes, we do. I fixed it.
Well, we are back. And
We
we
are
are
we
back.
are back, and we're back. He's here. My boy's still here too. Yeah. Life happened. It's fine. I didn't break it this time, so that's good. What was I talking about? Um,
Your toilet
you
breaking.
are well, that's done now, thankfully. I've taken care of that. But yeah, like I said, I'm still watching this documentary, You Are What You Eat. Well,
Right,
it's a
right, right.
series on Netflix, actually. The only thing that I didn't like about it was that once you get past the first couple episodes, there's kind of an agenda I feel that the show sets out of kind of giving more information on the industrialization of farming and how it's, bad for everything, basically, right? Where we get our meat from. They feel that people should be informed on where we get our meat from. And I absolutely agree.
So they're taking you down a different hole and you're it's like I'm not signed up for this or what have you. I wanted to watch a diet
Exactly.
video and I'm looking at farming is ruining the earth video.
Exactly. Exactly. And look, do things have to change when it comes to that? Yeah, probably. But that's not why I started watching this show. So I don't know if I'm going to finish it or not at this point. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's like one thing at a time.
Well, that's just it, right? They kind of sprinkled in. Well, they didn't just sprinkle it in. It was, blatantly just put in there in the middle of it all. Of not only is a plant, and I don't know exactly, but from what I discern, at least from my interpretation of a portion of it, is you know the plant-based diet is the future. This is why farming is bad. Animal mistreatment and everything else. And like I said, absolutely, I can agree with all of that, but it's just not what I tuned in for.
Yeah. No, exactly.
The vegans. I don't know if I could ever do that. I think that'd be tough for me. I think the vegan diet would be tough for me to finally go and pull the trigger on. I thought about it.
I just hate the labels and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I
Um
say no to beef or I say no to pork and somebody asks me what I am and I'm like I just get all like, you know, okay, I don't eat mammals. That's what I choose. And people kind of get all like defensive, like immediately. It's where I put my line. And if they really want to get into it, I'm like, well, do you eat dog? Well, no, that's disgusting. I'm like, well, you
Not in
can
some
if you want.
cultures.
I'll say you can if you want, and that wouldn't bother me because that's where you draw your line. Now, what's important is you don't bother other people about where they put their line. Horses, dogs, okay, no. And I'm cows, pigs, no. I won't. I won't.
Is there any reason why you won't?
Well, this is my line. It's like, why wouldn't you eat a dog?
No, dude, I understand why you wouldn't eat a dog. That I get.
The
No,
same
like,
reason why I won't eat a cow or a pig.
oh, same reason. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Hey,
'Cause I
fair enough.
believe that I've made friends with cows and pigs before, and I probably could make good friends with a cow or a pig. I believe that I could. I've had chickens. I could kick a chicken hard as I can. He comes right back into my
Oh,
hand.
fuck.
Bark, 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 bark. This chicken, but that's my decision. I'm not going to bother somebody for eating a cow.
No.
You know, that's just my choice. As long as I don't
No.
know them, eat whoever you want. you know, they do eat horse.
Sh- Lots of there's cultures that do, man. It's strange to us here where we have grown up and live now, but It's got to
It
be
is
a
funny
common thing
though
in parts
how
of the world.
one person can find something so repulsive, but they're doing like the exact same thing. It's so weird. It's like those Papua New Guinea lip disc, whatever. Those great big
Well,
discs. You know, they get their
oh
lip.
yeah, 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 yeah,
It's like,
yeah. I know what you're
what's the
saying.
difference
Yeah.
between that and a breast implant? What's the difference, I ask you? Actually, this is probably less weird because they're not putting some oil in your chemical or like synthol in your arms. You know, that's just as weird too.
Well, the difference is strictly cultural when it comes right down to it. It's a cultural difference, you know. It is, and diets are very cultural. You know, not just a vegan diet. It- Items within diets all over the world, man. Cultures are built around identities are built around, you know, diets, traditional diets. It's just you got to be open to things, and I understand there's lines that people won't cross, and that's fine too, right? But there's actually very little that I not that I've had much exotic kind of food put in front of me in terms of meat, especially, but I've tried gator when I was in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Gator was all right, you know, and wasn't bad. I actually went for a
Sprucey,
second round of it.
sprucey,
What's that?
sprucey.
No, gator was like 80%. I always described it as 80% chicken, 20% fish. It's actually pretty good, man. Like it's actually pretty good. I liked it. Um,
Go good
Catfish
on
was
a
good.
papaya. What do they call it?
Papaya, yeah,
Papaya. Isn't that chicken
yeah.
and fish?
You know what? I never had a no. Papaya is a fruit, isn't it? A
Yeah,
papaya?
yeah. I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, you're thinking of something else. Papaya. Oh, papaya is a plant. Yes. Plant species, blah blah blah. 20 unaccepted species in the plant, and it's a fruit that grows on a. There's a fruit that grows on the
I'm thinking
papaya.
of something totally different.
You're way off. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're way off there. But that's actually something I've never tried either. I find I'm wanting to try more things like that, though. Maybe it's just a getting older thing or whatever. But like, I'll walk past dragon fruit in the grocery store and I'll be, I never really tried that before. Maybe I'll get one, right? I haven't yet, but I'm kind of making my way toward things like that.
Dragon fruit.
Yeah. You ever have a dragon fruit?
No.
No, eh? No, me neither.
See, the way I see it, I'd eat more of that stuff when I'm younger because if you genetically evolve from like hunter gatherers, we were able to take down bigger game when we were younger bucks. You know, we were able to take down a buffalo or a cow. So when we're older, like me, you're a little bit older, I figure I can still fish, so I eat fish, or I could still kill a pheasant, so I eat bird, but I don't eat cow because I'm too old now. And when I get even older, I'll just eat fish.
Well, you could still pick a fruit off a tree no matter how old you are.
Oh no, I'll eat that. I eat
Okay.
lots of fruit. Oh yeah, I eat fruit all the like it's going out of style.
But would you
In
do a
fact,
dragon
people
fruit
trying to
though?
cut fruit out of their diet, it irritates me
Uh
because, you know, I'm old enough now that I can see what something will do to my body. You know, people have been telling me, "Oh, you're gonna wait till you get older, you get fat." I'm like, "Hello, it's here. I'm not." You can eat fruit. It's a good sugar. It's just when people first get into dieting and it's like, "Oh my god, there's sugar in fruit." It's like, "Yes, that's very
there
good."
sure is. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
all
You are
carbs
correct,
break down
sir.
into sugar.
Yeah. It's like people that get into dieting and gluten. They find out about gluten. Gluten's the enemy. God. I just
All you have to do, as Dr. Phil says, all you have to do is look at old people and see what they've eaten. Proof's in the pudding.
yeah, you're right. Until you got those anomalies of guys that live till like their 90s and all they did was smoke and drink and fucking I know you know a couple guys like that.
That's
I've known a couple.
genetics. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
especially in my family, my grandmother, she just passed away. God rest her soul. She was 101.
Shit, man. Sorry to hear
Yeah.
that. That's my great
Well,
grandmother was '100
it's
when she
like
passed
she
away.
was
Yeah,
101, so it was like the family was like not a celebration, but we were like,
she
way
was
to go. Better
101.
beat all of us. I guarantee she's gonna beat all of us.
Man, yeah, that's a celebration of life, dude. Like
Yeah.
101, that's crazy. My great grandmother was 100, but her last number of
Oh,
years
there you
wasn't any
go.
kind of. Yeah, she did well. Her last few years weren't really any quality of life, but I mean, you live to 100, dude. Like something's being done right there, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, you
Well,
like, yeah, you got anybody that's just getting into dieting, don't be afraid of fruit. Don't be afraid of gluten. If you're really concerned about these things, go and get an allergy test done so that you know what you can consume that actually
yeah.
agrees with you based on something more than this is going to sound hypocritical, but what you heard on the internet, Because we're kind of spewing it right now. But
Yeah,
no,
like
that it
everybody's allergic to nuts and stuff like that. I swear by nuts. I always have a big bag of
makes nuts.
mixed, yeah, fat. That's
That
good fat.
Mark, that's a big bag of nuts, bud.
That's yeah. I usually have the big see-through tins. I just opened that one up.
I know the see-through tins. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see-through
They're
plastic,
not,
whatever you call it.
and you're looking to gain weight. That's the kind of stuff that you want to be into, right? I'm not. I haven't really had a whole lot of like whole like. Well, when I go for stuff like that, I'll go for like mostly almonds, right? But right now, I'm not really in the extreme weight gaining phase. I
Well,
guess
yeah,
I'm
if
just
you're trying to lean out, that's the first thing I take out of my diet. And the
yeah, and
second I do, I want them so much, like peanut butter and stuff like that, because I go through like a jar lasts me maybe 2 weeks, maybe
yeah,
tops.
peanut. Oh yeah, me too, man. Me too. Peanut butter is something like I'll do it on right now. I'm doing it on rice cakes at the end of the day. Like I'll have two rice cakes with peanut butter and a bit of
Yeah,
jam kind of thing, right? And I'll do that with a shake, and that's awesome, dude. I love that. Really good.
I just put it in my shake.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll actually mix peanut butter in with my oatmeal.
Yeah,
Like I'll just I
in your
just do
shake,
I used pretty much,
in a blender.
but
You got to blend it up. You mean?
no, 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 no. Usually
That's
it's
a
something I'll
Marx
have.
Max special shake. You should try a Marx Max shake some one time.
I tell you what, I will. Tell me what's in it. I'll write
Just
it
the
down.
water. You put a little bit of water.
Yeah, okay.
It usually ends up to two large beer glasses. I drink one and then I just drink the other. I drink two. So
Okay.
water, frozen. I always have frozen blueberries. That's generally what I use. Use the unfrozen if I had, but it's always wild blueberries.
Yeah.
About half a cup, a little more
Okay.
if you want. About a half a cup of oatmeal, a little more maybe if you want. I throw that in
Okay.
with the water, blend that first, then throw in a great big hunk of peanut butter. Great big hunk.
Great big hunk peanut butter. Okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got that. Yeah.
And then a protein scoop. And
Any
then you're
any
on.
suggestion on flavor?
That's all you'll need. You're on your way with SO. Put some honey in it if you want. My wife
Perfect.
has them with yogurt. She'll put a yogurt and maybe half the protein.
Yeah, I've done that. I'll probably just do vanilla protein.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I got right now. Vanilla.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Well, after after Christmas, I had like 5 pounds of vanilla whey. I had 5 pounds of peanut butter chocolate. The family just asked me, "What can I get you?" And I was, man, like I tell people, like, don't get me anything. Like, I don't want anything. Don't get me things that
I
I'm
don't
just
want
gonna.
stuff either.
No, like me
I
and
hate
me.
my wife made a post on her Facebook this year, said, "No, we do not want gifts. Bunch of garbage that I have to throw away that I don't want, and then I have to have an annoying chore of going out. This is the difficult part. You have to go out like an idiot and try to find some little doohickey to give so and so and this and that. I said I have my brothers, my mom, and my dad. That's I'll buy for them. That's I don't need to go out of the because once you start getting out aunts, uncles, I'm like, we don't need to do all that crap. That's
I
enough is
just
enough.
it's I don't want people to give me things that I am one going to get rid of, right off the bat. And two, things that they're just arbitrarily spending their own money on because it's an obligation when the holidays come around. I just don't need but the problem is you tell people don't get me anything. They're like, well, we're gonna get you something.
Yeah.
You may as well that like can you give us any idea? And like, good, get me protein. Get me protein. There, right? So I ended up with a shitload of protein this Christmas, which is great. I'll use that, right? I'm good with that. But
Then you
generally
have to buy
speaking,
them gifts.
yes, you're right. And that is something I've struggled with. I'm not traditionally a good giver of gifts. Like I just I've never been.
Oh, my
Who's out
my
there?
wife. It's my wife.
Ah,
I believe. I
okay.
believe it.
Okay.
Unless it's a guest of some kind. Could be a guest.
Bring him on the show. They lift? You lift, bro?
No, no,
No?
none of my friends do.
No, no,
Come
that
in, they'll come
sucks.
in. I say, grab a dumbbell. My cousin will grab. It's like 70 years old. Grab a couple. Not 70, but hold on a second.
Yeah, I had a few buddies that got into lifting here in the last bit. Like nothing like what we do, but like a couple of the boys that got into lifting after I tell them like because I've been lifting for years, right? And the boys kind of a couple of them got into it because you get into your mid 30s, late 30s, and it's like shit, I got to start doing something with myself, right? And then I tell them that I got the YouTube channel, and they're like, "Holy shit!"
Well,
And I was like,
when you're younger, it's like these are all the same size. It doesn't really make a difference until you're older. It's like, geez, you're still in shape. What are you doing? Are you working out? Maybe I should try that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I did. 20 years of fucking consistency is what I did. 20 years of training minimum 4 days a week every week. Aside from maybe a week or two off here or there because really out of obligation being, injured or whatever. But yeah, consistency. That is what does it, you know? And the boys figure that out when they start training because that's where you get the newbie gains, right? Even in the mid or late 30s when you start, you get them newbie gains and then things get harder, right? And I get the messages and man,
Those
it was
when
fly
people turn into geniuses all of a sudden.
the weight was
The
flying off
newbie
me, dude. The
lifters.
weight was flying. I had a buddy message me. It's like when I first started, the weight was flying off me. And he's like, now I gotta work hard. I was like, yeah, you gotta work hard. Right? But the boys aren't strangers to hard work either, so it's just a different kind of just getting used to it, right? Having to dig that little bit deeper.
And some people don't see it as work, like the old school.
I don't. It's not. It's part of me keeping my fucking sanity is what it is.
No, but I mean they have a
I
hard time
have to
going into
train.
the gym like old school, like guys like my dad. He actually just started doing exercise because he's like 70 now. He's in his 70s.
Yep.
But he was always he'd rather go work.
Yeah.
It's like my one of my brothers the same thing. I try to get him to lift weights and he won't. He just doesn't see the point.
Doesn't see the point.
Welcome
If he
home.
doesn't see the point, he did. Nah, I shouldn't even say that. A lot of people don't see the point in going in and essentially lifting things up and putting things down on a regular basis. A lot of people don't see the point. But you do get
If
to an
big things
age.
happen, I set them down. That's what I do. What are you
It
showing
is.
me?
Show me. What is it?
Show the TV a new what I got. What she got
No,
me?
I made it.
Is it food?
The new mug, a Marx Max mug.
Hold on. Did your wife say she made that?
She made that.
Oh man, that's awesome.
She made it in a killam.
Thanks.
In a kilo. That's what she must be getting sick of your Simpsons and Seinfeld mugs.
This is nothing compared to what she can do. She's an artiste.
Man, that's awesome. Both of you
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's why I don't draw anymore because she's a better artist than me. I gave
You
up.
do. Yeah, you didn't give up. You're back at it a little bit. You
Yeah,
got
that's
Conehead Crizzo back there.
I drew Conehead Crizzo. Yeah,
You can't see it very good in the camera right now. But yeah, Conehead Crizzo. I love the Conehead Crizzo picture. I knew right away who
Can
it
you hear
was
that cat? Bring that cat and show the cat on the TV. On the TV, I say.
on the
on,
TV.
on EP09 to get a display. Actually, my
On
cat
the Bodybuilding Breakdown.
is on the very first ever Marx Max Muscle video.
Oh,
You can
really?
hear, yeah, you can hear him bellowing a meow in the background.
Stuck on the screen. Maybe I just throw it out this window.
Ow, he clawed me. Let's poop the
Nice.
cat. Poop the cat. How about that?
Ah, kind of looks like my old cat.
Fur everywhere.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's like having three dogs, dude. Fucking just fur everywhere.
He's a Maine Coon, right? Show and tell. Love you. Love you too. Bye. Bye. Yeah, she painted them, put them in a kiln. She went in town, did them, their mom and stuff.
Nice, nice. Yeah, we got a thing like that in town around here, like that too. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Kristen's gone and done it before. But stuff like that, to get stuff like that is cool. Oh, there's the man himself. He's actually Xavier was having major computer problems, and it looks like he's got him sorted out. Unless this ends up crashing on
He's
him
doing
too.
a pose. He's doing a pose.
Man, that guy was pretty ripped, man. Like he was. Dude, you got
What's
us?
up?
Yeah, what's
I
going
am
on?
on. Are you guys recording now?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, not much is going
yeah.
on. Well, lots is going on, but not much in terms of.
He's
Actually, there's a
just,
lot going on.
You
There's a lot.
the cameo appearance of my cat.
Oh,
I
you
missed
did,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What you also missed when my boy came downstairs and he
Oh,
told me
yes.
that the fucking toilet upstairs was clogged, so I had to duck out for 2 or 3 minutes and unclog it.
That's when I messaged over and said technical difficulties.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I thought you meant me.
No, I was
I
just
thought
sitting here
I thought he meant you too.
waiting for the toilet news.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is this is what life is like, right? Just put out one fire, put out another. It's just it's it's all good. It's all good.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like my new
yeah.
background, man. I like my new background.
Thank you. Well, I upgraded the camera and it's actually an old background that I use for I used to use it for thumbnails. And I still use it the odd time, but yeah, if I was to turn off the like there's just stuff everywhere down
I
here,
like it
right?
better than the one you had last time.
Yeah, yeah, from the podcast that
I
I still
like that
didn't
one
post
though.
yet.
You had the EP behind you.
Yeah, yeah, it was
EP09.
cool. This is a
The
little less
fog,
busy.
the cloud. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, this is
I
Yeah.
this
got the
is this is
bricks.
better.
I copied off
Yeah.
Xavier, so
Well, I mean,
Mark,
pretty much
is yours green screen?
no.
no. That's brick. I laid that myself.
No,
He
that's
was
not even
fucking
green screen.
talking to me.
That's a brick thing, isn't it? Like a brick what's it called? Like
It's like a partition wall.
fabric or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Luke Sando had the brick wall when he's recording with Fuad back in the day, and he'd lean back sometimes and the bricks were moving back and forward. So I like that.
Yeah, no, it's just paper. Just like
Beautiful.
my
Yeah.
I like
picture
it.
of Frizo.
Well,
Oh yes, I like that picture. Yeah, that's cool.
Conehead Frizo.
I want to work on getting I want to get a green screen down here because this is still it's still an unfinished area and me and me and Kristen are still in the stage of wanting to get rid of a lot of things that we have. Me and Mark were talking about it a little bit earlier, just of not even wanting to be given any more gifts like Christmas and shit like that. We're trying to get rid of stuff,
I hate
possessions.
stuff.
When you get
Declutter.
older, man, possessions, they weigh you down, man. They really do. I have my things that I use, and it's blatantly obvious the things that I really want to keep lately, like my music stuff, my gym, these this area that I'm building now, these are the things that really get used. Everything else, for the most part, like aside from tools and shit like that,
Tools
it
are
could
different.
go.
Yeah. Use
Yeah.
them when you need them. When you need them, they're there.
Yeah, and that stuff
I've
is
moved
useful.
I've moved quite a lot. So like I've moved to Western Australia. I've moved like state,
That's
moved
when you
around a bit,
realize
state
how
to
much
state.
stuff you have.
Yep. And like I had to be at stages, I had to be like ruthless. Like I was like, okay, I'm putting all my life on a pallet when I went to Western Australia, put it all on a pallet. And I'm like, I have to be ruthless here. Like there is a lot more stuff than I thought. And it's actually good because you're like, well, then at that stage, I can sort of pack my life up and go if I need to, you know, like, and you're like, well, I can repurchase possessions. So if I've got this possession or this bit of furniture or whatever, you can sort of get rid of it and start again. But you just have to realize the cost of doing that. But it's yeah, it's sort of freeing. It's like it's sort of nice having less possessions and less just crap in general. But like there's so many things that add up. It's like, oh, I've got some like snorkeling, like a snorkel and some fins, and I've got this and that. And once you start to get tons of those little things, like too many, one thing that you use once every 3 years, it's like, do I need it? Or do I really need it?
Are you going to use it again? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You get to a point where that stuff just ends up going. Like you end up getting rid of that. It just ends up being shit laying around, you know?
Yeah.
The space that you have is very, very important. It's like going into a good gym, you know? You go into a good gym with a good layout, you know, everything's organized, it's part of the atmosphere of going in there, you know?
Yeah.
And that's
100%.
very, very important in terms of in terms of a good gym to go to, right? It should feel not feel the same, but you should get a good feeling of going to your space outside of the gym as well. And that's actually a good point for anybody that's watching that even if you've been into fitness for a while, make sure that you're maintaining your spaces in order for you to feel your best and be at your most efficient, because the less shit that you have, the less shit that you got to look after, the less shit you got to think about, the less shit you got to clean. It's just so much better overall. It really is, man.
Yeah. 100%. Like my office, right now, it's a bit messy, but I actually thought of this whole, like the whole thing we're talking about, I thought of this yesterday. I'm like, just decluttering, like, okay, like there's too much crap on my like table right now. And I looked at it this morning. I'm like,
my table's
I feel
covered.
like, yeah, I'm like when your when your office is messy, it's like your mind's messy as well. Like it actually like almost clutters your mind because you're like, oh, then you're moving stuff. Like I've got a freaking salt shaker here. You know what I mean? Like I don't need that there. I should have put it back. You know, like there's just random things that are just sitting here. I'm like, just random charges that I'm not even using. It's like, but yeah. You've motivated me. Once that we get off this podcast, I'm cleaning this office. So
I did something positive today. Actually, that's another positive thing that I did today, man. Well, we got the I was talking about it earlier. I'm not going to harp on it too much, but the 5 feet of fucking snow that we got here, most of my
that was
workouts,
crazy, man. That was crazy.
It's been insanity. Everything is shut down. There's nowhere else to put any snow. All the highways are reduced to one lane. You can't even get to most places. Like it's just we haven't worked all week. You know, work sites are completely filled with snow. Nobody knows where to put it all. You got to truck it away. Anyway, I went and I shoveled out two of my neighbors. I shoveled out their driveways today too, helping them out. So I've been spewing a lot of positivity today. That's good. I'm having a good day.
Yeah. It comes back, man. It comes back. One question I've got, because I saw actually a video of someone doing this on Instagram, and I know that Elon Musk was selling flamethrowers, but they were not called flamethrowers because the legality to actually sell them, all that sort of stuff. I heard that on Joe Rogan. But why can't you? Is that not a thing where you can just burn all that snow away and it just melts, or
No. It'll turn into a big solid block of ice.
Really? Okay.
If you have one little steep
freeze
driveway,
again.
if you had
I'm
one
thinking
little
about
steep
it.
driveway, and that's a lot of fuel.
No. Let's not. Let's. Well, Mark, you do make good points. I don't want to count it out entirely. When I was living out west,
water, maybe.
Well, now here's the thing, Xavier. Where we live on the east coast of Canada, it's like very close to the ocean. It's very, very wet here, right? So the snow is very wet, heavy, a lot of moisture. And Mark's right. If you were to melt it, it would turn to ice. And it would take probably it would take more time than you would think actually by melting
Take more
it down.
fuel too. You could load up your snowblower and run your snowblower for 3 days on the fuel you'd burn on a flamethrower.
Yeah, you're right about that. Oh, west though, like in like the interior of British Columbia, where I used to live, that snow was light as a feather. People used to do their driveways with leaf blowers.
Yes,
like you could just blow it out of the way.
Snow. I laugh at those videos that I see. Like that's like that doesn't work up here. And where I'm at,
Yeah.
I'm on a hill, like a
Yeah.
great big mountain. And even at the bottom of my hill, which is like 5 minutes away, they don't get half the snow we get up here.
Mm,
Yeah. So a lot
that's
of my
crazy.
training it's been lifting in the morning and then shoveling for about 2 hours a day. Like it's nuts. Like I go to let my dogs outside in the backyard. I shoveled off part of my back step because we have a fenced in yard for the dogs. But that doesn't fucking matter right now because the dogs can just jump the snowbanks and suddenly, like, I'll let them out. 2 minutes later, I'm hearing them scratching at the front door because they just went from one side around to the other and like they just jumped the snowbanks. Like it's
No
nuts,
more.
man. It's
No
crazy.
more.
Oh,
But no,
that's yeah.
it's been good though. I mean, you get to push yourself a little bit more when it comes to situations like these, right? Like I don't stop training and I continue to be able to do these things that are like, all the snow shoveling and shit like that. It's good to be able to put yourself in a situation, even if it's presented to you, to be able to push yourself a little bit. I know it's just shoveling snow, but it was a lot of fucking snow, right? And it's
Well,
been
it's good for the lower
consistently,
back.
and I did deadlifts
Give
the
you a
morning
Christmas
before,
tree.
like 3 days ago. Yeah.
It gives you a Christmas tree.
Yeah. I hope.
Shoveling
Yeah,
snow.
I hope.
Yeah, that year that I had to shovel like a lot, my Christmas tree popped out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Telling
Christmas
you.
tree, baby, please. Yes, sir.
You got to diet though to bring it out.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
I just feel like there has to be some way that they can get rid of snow more efficiently. Like it's been happening for so long, but there just mustn't be because it's like
We
they would have
were
figured out like
we
there's some
were
sort of
loading
heat
in the
blanket they
truck.
can put through it.
Yeah, no,
There are
we
heated
were
driveways. Heated driveways
Yes.
exist.
Yes, and I used
That's
to
cool.
I used to pave driveways, actually. That's what I used to do before I did this.
Really?
Yep.
And it is a messy job and it is expensive and it doesn't work with thick snow and it's just an ordeal that I would never ever recommend. Like and
Yeah.
expensive, I'm telling you right now, man. It was a
Yeah.
bad idea. This rich guy, he got his driveway done and it was like no. Maybe like you said in an area where you're going to get a little bit of snow, but we're talking over your house. Drifts.
Yeah,
When the
man.
drifts go,
Yep.
have you ever seen me
Yep.
make an igloo? I made an igloo. I posted it on my other YouTube channel.
Really?
I can make an igloo, yeah.
Please
Who
send
was I
that to me
talking
later. I
to?
want to see it.
I was talking to Krishan actually about Krishan at Goat Fitness. Shout out to Krishan. I was
Shout out to
talking to him
Joe,
actually.
yeah.
He was talking about your other channel, your outdoors channel, because he was
Yeah,
like, it's
I gave
crazy
up
the
on
stuff that he gets into. I was like, it's the exact same way where I'm at, man. Like this is what it's like here, It's relentless.
it's strange to us, but normal to us, but strange to other people, yeah.
It's the North Atlantic,
Mm,
man. I gain a new appreciation for it every single winter season. I really do, I really do.
yeah.
Xavier, one question. One question. How many of these do you have kicking? Funny. Even the tops match with these. How many shaker cups do you have kicking around your house?
Not many now, man. I used to probably be rocking about 15 to 16 shakers because
Yeah.
they just kept getting given to me. I'd have a
Yep.
sponsor, they would send me 3, and I might then just randomly, I ran out of something, just quickly go to a supplement store to grab something small. Then they're like, oh, here's a free shaker. I had tons, but they've just literally disappeared over time. Like I've got,
You gotta start saying
and then
no.
they just break, So yeah,
So
I've only got
how many do you
probably,
have?
I've only got 3 now or something. Like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Minimalist, minimalist lifestyle. Well, that'd be 1, but less than I used to have.
No,
I used to actually have
three makes sense.
I used to have a meal prep company that used to sponsor me. So it was the best sponsor that I've ever had because they
Holy
would give
shit.
me per week. It was, I mean, I don't know what the conversion is to Canadian or American dollars, but it was like $230 a week credit every single week,
It's not bad.
which is what 100 and something American. And it was, I'd get 20 something meals. So I would like order all these meals and they were like good containers. Like they were quite big, like they're like big containers like that. And they would just come with the food in there, just like not ziplocked, like cryovac. So it's like there's no air in it and they're in their own separate things.
Mhm.
So they were completely clean. So I'd get like 24 of these things a week. and then I just stack them in my and I had a real issue with throwing them out. And I'm like, well, at this point, I've got about 150 of them just stacked. Like
The more you
I had
have,
enough room.
the more you have, the less sense it makes to throw one away. It's like, why would I throw one away? I could
Yeah,
add it
there's
to the
already
pile.
124.
Because they're reusable and you can wash
Yeah.
them and use them again, right?
Well, what
Is that
Yeah,
the
I
thing?
do, I use them for
Yeah.
chicken breasts. When I freeze my chicken breasts, I have these cheap plastic things, and
Yep.
I just put my chicken breasts in them instead of using like Ziploc bags, because I buy a pile of chicken breasts at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We end up with reusable plastic containers when we go to Boston Pizza, right? Every time we go to Boston Pizza, even if there's no left, like even if there's a little bit of leftovers, like if my boy doesn't eat all his, chicken nuggets and fries or whatever, get us a takeout container, will you? And they always
Yes.
give you the big rectangular ones. So I've got like 10 of those in my cupboard upstairs, and they are awesome. They're
They're
wicked,
pretty good
man.
quality.
They are. You can.
It's like, don't
they
throw that
wash
away.
well.
That's better. That's better than I use at home.
See,
I'll take that.
these are the gym rat hacks that you really got to get into, right? This is the culmination of years of experience of being a gym rat right here, right? This is what it's all about.
It's so funny how the simple little things can make you so happy. Like I remember I had this like coffee container, like a one you can keep like coffee and it stays hot for like 10 hours or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And that thing, like when I lost it, I was like devastated because I was like, that's my pride and joy. Like it was worth like probably like $35 American or something, but it was so good. What's that?
It's my coffee warmer. It's my
The
coffee
coffee
sitting on it.
warmer.
Yeah.
That's awesome. See, those little things, like it might be something that's worth like $20 or something,
I don't
but
know.
it's the
wife
best
bought it
thing
for
ever.
me. I don't know how much.
I need that
don't know how
now.
much she paid for it. No,
You guys are
my
doing
last sip
coffee.
of coffee. My last sip of coffee is probably the warmest one because it's warm at the bottom. It's beautiful.
Oh,
That is genius,
I
actually.
need that in my
Yeah.
life. I need that in my life. Yeah.
I think I have a problem. You guys did coffee. I did like a quarter or maybe a little bit more of a scoop of pre-workout before I came on here. I got a problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You start to get low
Yeah.
in your caffeine. You start shaking, headaches.
Yeah, I clearly have an issue with pre-workout. I think I actually do. I haven't stopped pre-workout in like I don't even want to say. I mean, it's been a couple years since I haven't really, consistently used pre-workout, man.
Really?
I do have to stop. Like
I
I got to
try
come
to
off
limit
it.
mine. I got into it from wrestling. I would actually only take it before a match,
Really?
and then I'm like, I use it for every workout then. But
I do.
lately, I'll take my workouts more seriously. Like I've been for maybe the last couple months. Like I said, we have a wrestling event coming up in June, and a lot of my friends are going to be there. And there's actually a bodybuilding competition too. So last time I did go to one of them shows, my friends were called me names and stuff. They wanted like picking a fight with me in the audience, right? So everybody was kind of looking at me. A couple people actually recognized me from before. So at least if I'm sitting in the audience, I kind of want to be in shape.
So you're
And
getting
you
so you're getting on the pre-workout is what you're saying.
I've been
is that what you're saying?
taking my pre-workouts for before my workouts in the last couple months. Yeah.
So then you can
This
get up
is-
there and just go rip it open and just
Well,
Go.
no, that would be a different type of shape.
okay.
If you want to, if I wanted to look and wrestle it, like if I actually were to walk out, it would be worth cutting down to look a little smaller to get some abs.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're just
Okay.
looking to go up so that you can fill out a fucking t-shirt is what you want to do.
Fill out a t-shirt shape, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hey man,
And
that's
I'm not
respect.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest guy. Like even when I wrestled, I was $155.
I don't know, man. That comparison you did between you and Derek Lunsford, there was
I saw that.
There was a couple of
Yeah.
shots. Like
I was actually a little bit less then because I was if I was to compare it with my wrestling shape, I was 170, but then I leaned down to about 148 from 170. So I was
Okay.
You were
much
lean there.
leaner there. Yeah, I scraped into the 140s.
yeah,
That's
that's
cool.
lean, dude. Yeah, that's lean.
Yeah.
I've been 140 since I was like
And the funny thing is
14.
my abs have been more cut. All right. It's because when you get a certain age, it's harder to keep the separation in the abs. But I knew I was in better condition because I could see like lines in my Christmas tree and like my hamstrings. Like, whereas before it took me more dieting to get to that level, but I had abs back in my like youth. It's just
Well,
the
you don't do
stomach.
cardio either. Like you don't do cardio.
Yeah, some I haven't been like lately, just in this last little while. But when I used to
Yeah.
train for wrestling, it was all cardio.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Just
Yeah.
the training alone was a cardio workout, you
Training in
know?
the ring. Training in the ring was the only thing that I wanted to do. Like
Yeah.
jogging's okay, but unless you're in there bouncing off the ropes and realizing what it's like, and then taking a fall, getting up, having to pick someone up, and then all the while you gotta kind of, if you're not supposed to be in pain, you gotta act like you're not. If you are supposed to be in pain, you gotta act like you are. It's just a whole crazy situation.
You're right, man. No,
Yeah.
it is, right? It all depends on what you're training for too, right? So it sometimes you want to increase your cardiovascular. Well, for what? You know, well, for wrestling. Okay, well, I could just train harder for wrestling and that's gonna do it, you know.
That's your cardio.
Training, yeah, training for your discipline, you know. I've been really wanting to get a weighted vest, and I know a lot of people think that they're bullshit, but in diving, when we dive, it's roughly about 100 pounds worth of gear when you're doing surface applied diving, right? And the vest, it's like the 5 point harness that we wear is where you put your weights. So I'll dive anywhere between it depends on a couple of different things, the under layers and which suit I'm wearing and things like that. It could be anywhere from 20 to 28 pounds that I'll put just in that, right? You've got a tank on top of, well, at the back of you. The helmet is about 30 pounds. Anyway, I've wanted to do weighted vest training without really changing a lot of what I do in my weightlifting, just because I tried to do an amount of training, you know, when it comes to functional training for diving. Um, I'll do things like 99% of the time when I train, I'm wearing my hoodie with the hood up, right? Because the dive helmet, you've got padding inside of the dive helmet that you're wearing like a Snoopy, right? So that kind of simulates that your head's enclosed. I'd love to do a weighted vest to simulate even more. I just haven't. I got to take the time to go and buy one.
Yeah. What sort of functional stuff do you do for diving? Like, you know, I'm assuming you're not getting the cables and going like trying to swim with them or something, but what is it?
The most of what I do in terms of preparing myself for diving is I really run a pretty standard bro split, but I'll increase uh I'll increase the rep ranges every so often, like however I feel. Every couple of months, I'll go from 10 to 12, I'll go to 15 to 20. Every third exercise, I'll do like 30 reps of whatever it is I'm doing, just so I can keep strength, I can keep endurance, and I always do cardio. The flexibility and diving, you don't really need it. I mean, to be honest with you. So I don't do a
Yeah.
lot of flexibility training. But when it comes to actual functional training in order to be a better diver, I find that my bro split really kind of takes care of that because
Yeah.
I can work on my endurance, I can keep a good level of strength, all of the things that you need. And when you look at when it comes to reps in diving, um, I don't know, you could consider certain portions of diving, like when I'm coming up the ladder at the end of a dive, right? You're 2 hours in the water, 3 hours in the water, whatever. You're coming up that ladder. Well, there might be, say, 10 rungs or 15 rungs. Okay. That's where I'd like to have the weighted vest because I do body weight exercises every time I train. There's some sort of body weight exercises incorporated into my training. And part of that is because of diving. However, I think I could get more out of my training to be able to be better prepared for diving if I had that weighted vest for doing chin ups, pull ups, dips, things like that, right? I should really just break down and get one.
Yeah. But
Actually, I was, yeah.
it's funny, like a little bit off topic of what Mark was saying before about the doing like the with your wrestling, like you're doing cardio basically, you know, training for the wrestling and stuff like that. I was thinking about that with like fitness women. And I just recently started following your drink just disappeared with a green screen. You're going like that, and it just went.
Huh.
It's a cheap setup.
Oh, I'm the same, man. Like I'll move my arm sometimes and it would disappear or something. But I saw I think it was Abby Bolton, who I think Sanchez had on his channel before.
Yep,
and I saw she was doing X amount of cardio a day, which from memory it was decent, plus doing her like routine and stuff, plus training. I'm like, oh my God, that would kill me. Like that would destroy me, because I know how hard it is when you get lean and you're in a prep. Like even doing your posing routine at the end of a prep, it's like you have, because I understand why pro bodybuilders don't work on it as much, because you get towards the end of a prep, the last 6 weeks or whatever, and you just like to peel yourself off the couch sometimes. Like it sounds dramatic, but when you're at that low point of your prep and you're like shredded or close to it, it's like your body just like it's giving you signals to stop doing any activity and to just feed. So I remember once I was it's 2014, and my partner at the time, I remember I was sitting on the couch and I just hit this point where, and I've got a bit of a sort of nuts mentality where I'll just sort of go and not sort of give myself a rest, because if it's on in the routine, I would do it 110%, no matter how I feel or anything like that. I remember I just hit a point and I was on the couch and I just felt like I couldn't even get up and I felt so exhausted. I remember I was just like, I just started crying. I was just like, I'm like, can't do it anymore. It's effed. I'm like, I just like, it was just one point where I just broke. And then she was just like, just go lie down in the bedroom. I'm like, I can't get up. I was like completely over dramatic. But it was like, you just hit that point and you're like, I don't have energy to get up and do my posing routine unless I've scheduled my posing in as a cardio session, which is what I do. I'd sort of jump on a bike for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that, get my heart rate up and then pose and do the holds. And I'd be saturated, like dripping with sweat. But just to get up and just casually add in extra posing randomly without having it at least planned, where you do 5 minutes posing before bed at night or whatever, which is what I do, 5-10 minutes. Unless I had that scheduled, it was so hard to motivate myself to get up. So I can only imagine, like, if it was Abby that I saw, I think it was Abby Bolton, where she said how much cardio she's doing and plus practicing a routine, plus training. I'm like, oh, that has got to be hard. I mean, she's got the motivation of going the Arnold Classic, but regardless, I think that would be extremely difficult.
Yeah, she's a bombshell.
Yeah,
man. Yeah. Since I really started following bodybuilding, like covering bodybuilding, I was talking about gaining new appreciations for things. You really do gain a new appreciation for what like the length that some of these competitors go through, just to make it on stage, let alone, try to make it into the first call out and shit like that.
That's a whole nother, like even to be on your back. Like obviously you've been on stage, Xavier, like probably a good amount of times.
Probably 16 comps or so.
Yeah,
I think.
decent amount. Now, have you ever had like the anxiety hit you,
like backstage?
Well, when you walk out.
Yeah, the last time it wasn't the last time I competed, but the last time I competed was a qualifier for the Arnold Classic Australia. So I was hoping to go there, and because they only give a pro card out to the overall winners of each thing. So one for the classic physique, one for the men's physique, and all that sort of stuff. And I got the year prior, I got beaten by the guy that won the overall. So there's 4 height classes, and he won my class and then won the overall. And he literally showed up 20 minutes before we got on stage, and he's like, like ripping his clothes off, pumping up quick, and I'm just like. And it was deflating because a lot of people there were like, oh, you've got it easily. You probably win the overall, win your pro card. I'm like, couldn't believe it. But then having everyone say that to me backstage, and then this guy showed up straight away, it's like it was a perfect recipe, because I was confident most of the time going on stage. I was confident in what I was doing. I was like, okay, cool. Like I just won the overall in another state show, the men's physique. And I was like, cool. I've sort of, I'm good. But then he shows up, and then everyone's saying, you're going to win, you're going to win, you're going to win. And then I got out there and I just sort of psyched myself out. I've never had that before really on stage. Like my first time on stage ever, it was like surreal because I just turned 17 years old, like 5 days prior. And it was like such an adrenaline rush. I got off stage. I'm like, I can't even remember being on stage at all. But then the more I competed, the more I'm like, okay, I'm on stage. you know, when I was doing bodybuilding, up in the front, relaxed, and you're sort of just looking at the crowd. You can spot your friends' faces and everything. First one on stage, I can't remember that.
Spot out there, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't see anything, but it gave me an appreciation as well doing men's physique is sitting on your abs and how much you have to sit on your abs.
Yeah.
My abs were literally cramping on stage like the week or 2 weeks, a week prior, which I did the South Australian state comp, which is like Adelaide. If you guys know that, I don't know if you do or not, but I did that, and I just remember sitting on my abs and just the way I've got to sit on my abs. So I still see the intercostals and serratus and all that sort of stuff, but you're still not pulling your abs up so they don't look, you know, because when I just pull my abs all the way up, they don't look as aesthetic. So I've got to have that perfect balance of like flexing them just like enough on the intercostals and serratus, just enough on the main abs. And I was sitting there, I'm like, my abs are like cramping. So anytime you do something that you haven't done before and you're like, oh, that's actually hard, you sort of like have this new appreciation for it. Like,
absolutely.
You know, it's like you would know, like when your wife had your children, it's like all of a sudden you have this new appreciation for women and what they go through when they have a child. And you're just like, okay, you don't get it fully, but you're like, I get it now. Like, so I think it's good to do different things like that because then you gain more appreciation. Like even now, like when I've either gone through things in life or whatever, you see someone in a different situation, like they maybe grew up with like abusive parents or they grew up with whatever, and you don't have any, you're like, oh, you know it sucks, you know it's bad, but when you've gone through stuff that's similar, you like, you know, people are so much more empathetic that have gone through the same thing. So like, yeah, it's like that with anything in life. I think once you've experienced it, you're like, okay, I get it.
Not everybody does. Not everybody has those moments though, right? Not everybody learns from those experiences. And it is so fucking important to make sure if you're not learning from them, then it's going to continue to detract from you. And that's the difference. There's no like, oh, well, it happened. No. It's either you learn from it or you suffer because like, I don't find that there's any kind of in between. Like just recognize, learn, be self-aware. These are the important things, you know? And we were talking about this a little bit yesterday. These really are important things, you know? They really are. I actually forget. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, and some people have that, like some people are narcissists too, and they will never learn. They will never actually learn from any mistakes they've made. They will justify a reason as to why everyone else is wrong and they're right.
Oh, yeah.
As insane as it might be. So it's like you sort of realize there's all these different personality types that, you know, I know people that have, you know, close-ish to me that have lost someone in their life. And, you know, I've lost people in my life. So I'm like, when that's happened, I've had this whole thing. You sort of go through these stages of like, oh, you're not like, why me? But you do feel sorry for yourself in a way. But then I had the ability to gain a different perspective and be like, well, I'm glad I knew that person and I learned these lessons and stuff like that. I know people that have gone 10, 15 years after losing someone close to them, and obviously something devastating, but everything is taken out on everyone else. You know, it makes them worse of a person. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And they have zero self-awareness. And I think through doing what we do, like on YouTube, it creates more self-awareness because there's certain videos I've recorded and I'll say something and I'm like, I'll listen back to it. I'm like, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean it to sound like the way I said it. Like I'll say something about someone. I'm like, oh, that could come across as this, you know, or that could come across as that. And to be honest, I'm like, oh, most of the time it's pretty fine. But still in a podcast, I'm like, oh, that's why Martin got confused when I said this because it sounded like I meant this. And it's not like, I think people can read your intentions as well. You know, I never really have a negative intention towards someone or whatever, but it's just funny that you don't always come across how you think you do.
It's true, man. It's true. And there's another good example of the self-awareness portion, right? And especially the change that comes with that self-awareness. Well, I didn't really know if they really caught what I was saying, or when I listened back, you know, this wasn't what I intended. But do you go back and change it? That's the thing, right? That's the thing. Yep. It's either you gain an understanding from it or you make the proper change in order to continue to move forward. That's what it's all about, you know? That's what it's all about. It's good, man. You know, it's
dude,
funny. Well, sorry from what you were talking about. y- I often forget because it's been so long since you actually competed in men's physique. You actually competed in the infancy of men's physique as well. Like that was when it was pretty new, man.
Not really. No, it's still
No?
out for a while because in 2014 I was doing bodybuilding, so it was men's physique back then. So I was doing classic back then. So 2000, 2014
15 was the first Olympia Classic, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. So I did. This was when there's classic bodybuilding back then. So in 2016, I did classic physique. It might have even still been classic bodybuilding in Australia, to be honest. But I did it. Yeah, 2016, I competed in classic, and then I didn't compete until 2019 in men's physique, or 2019, I think.
And
So
men's
it was
physique was
into it.
2012. It was introduced in 2012. I just looked it up. So I guess it wasn't. Yeah, okay. It wasn't
Really, was it
7
that
years
old?
in.
Wonder why they didn't go to the Olympian until like 2015 or so.
And
I think
they got to
one
put on
year
a
it was
show,
in
right?
the NPC. Like 1 year they do NPC, then they introduce in the IFBB Pro League, and then the first year wasn't an Olympic qualifier, so then it's the next year. Or I remember something like that. But I remember men's physique early days, it copped a lot of negativity. And
Yeah.
I was even one of those being like, well, I'm not going to do men's bikini. But
No,
then the
but,
physique
that's-
started to look a bit more jacked, and I was like,
I was talking about men's classic physique. Sorry, guys.
oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah. No. Classic physique was 2016, but men's
Yes.
physique.
I apologize, guys. I was thinking
no,
men's. I totally got them screwed up.
No, it's that's all good. So, men's physique still gets a bad rap. It's definitely more respected than it was. But man, you're right. Men's physique got a bad rap, man. It really did. Like it was almost embarrassing to be a competitor in men's physique. These days, I mean, the guys are fucking huge, right? It's actually something where they put the brakes on it there this year, last year, where it was like, boys, this is getting completely and totally like you guys are massive. You guys may as well be in classic, right? And some of them did. Some of them
would be big enough for
right?
classic, yeah.
Some of them did do both. Not many, but there were some that did both.
Jeremy Bundale was massive, man.
Kyron Holden, I think he was one that did classic, and he also did men's physique. I don't follow men's physique enough, right? Like I really don't.
Animal, Stan Dulongo.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Physique classic open.
IFBB Broku. He was on Sanchez's channel. Why does his name escape me? Jason Lowe.
Jason Lowe.
Yeah. Yep. He did it.
Did
yep.
He? There you go.
Yeah.
But he's done 212.
Yep.
He's in the open now.
Maybe don't quote me. Maybe he didn't. I thought that he was one of the guys that did all the divisions as well.
He's done a lot. He's done a lot.
He has.
He could be right.
Yeah. We'll see what kind of improvements he makes this year.
For me, with men's physique, I think they should put more emphasis, like change it up, because the way it's judged, it's a front and a back pose, and you don't realize, but that's it. 2 poses they compared on. That's
I realize it. I do realize
and it's front
it.
And back, front and back.
I think that's part of why I don't really like.
I've done a couple of them. That's it.
I really think that's why I don't really follow a lot of men's physique, even when the guys started getting bigger, right? Like the comparisons are so limited. They really are in comparison, like to bodybuilding. Yeah, they are. It is a little bit, right? And they really should have more of something to be able to compare these guys more than just standing in a front and standing in a back post. Like there's no, it's very limiting. It really is. It must be frustrating for the competitors.
Yeah, this is my idea. I mean, make the routine when they come out, right? So they have that individual routine when they come out, but they're only really judging them side by side. I say make the routine, let them pick their own music. I know that's an extra thing you've got to add in for the promoters and it makes it a bit more annoying or whatever, but let them pick their own music because they're going to vibe to it. They're going to like it more. It's going to be a bit more entertaining. Make it for amateurs 30 seconds, 25 seconds, whatever it is. Like I came up with a really cool routine for my amateur contest here in Australia. Really cool routine. I was really happy with it, like to the point where like I'd walk out on stage and I'd use my hands and go like this and then pull my body across and then go like and flex my tricep. But it was like, it was smooth and I practiced it. So I was like, it literally looked like I'd put my hands there and then pull and then put my arm down. And then I would like, as I get to the other side, like sort of like spin around and then show my back off. And it was like, I worked on it. I'm like, this looks awesome. Like, I was like, this is sweet. And I would love for them to judge that more, like in terms of like your presence, like how the physique looks, obviously, that's the main factor. But the way you show off the physique in that round, because guys will do things, but it's like they don't want you to flex. So they do things like what I do is like I'll pull my arm around like that and I'm flexing my bicep and then I'm locking my tricep down. So you are posing, but you're just not doing a bicep pose like, well, you can't see because my green screen's messing up, but like you're not doing anything like that. But I'd like guys to be able to come out and do like a pose where they're like swing around and they'll be like that, and then they go into something else. And it's like, that would be cool. It would make the fans more excited. Be like, what do you rate his routine out of 10? And as fans, we can follow that and go, oh yeah, his routine was like at least like a 9.5 or something like that with his physique and everything. And judge that as like a third of the scoring or something. And then you can say, okay, well, their physiques were 50-50, but his routine was awesome. Like he really showed it off good. And the judges can write down a little score for the routine. And maybe it only plays a small role in it, but at least then we will watch those routines and it's not 30 guys walking onto stage or 20 guys walking on stage a minute each. And we're looking at, by the time they walk on and off, 25 minutes of just individual guys walking on stage, knowing that we're waiting for comparisons. Why have guys go on stage and not be judged at any point is beyond me, because posing routines for bodybuilding, they should be judged, because I used to have so much invested into the posing routines. Like, that was a sick routine. That was awesome. That was like Melvin Anthony would come out. I remember going to the Australian Pro and being so excited for Melvin to come out. So you do all the pop locking and
yeah, he's awesome.
It was insane. And Vince Taylor, when he came to Australia,
Vince, he was the forerunner. Yeah, the whole thing. Vince, maybe one of the very first.
Yeah, Terminator. And he did that. He did that Terminator routine in Australia, and I got to see it live, and that sticks out in my mind. It's like, you know, straight away sticks out in my mind. Lee Labrada's routines back in the day, they stick out in my mind.
Different type, but equally as good.
Palumbo used to do some shit. Coleman used to do some shit like that, you know?
Coleman
was entertaining, not the best
poser, you know, back in his day.
He wasn't afraid to take some risks when it comes to posing, you know? And that is what's important. Whether it really hits or not, that's important as well. But just
too risky. Kai Green.
Yeah, that's a little bit too risque.
Every once in a while,
that's a little risque.
Every once in a while, I will see one of his routines where it's just unbelievable. I love it. But for the most part, it's like, you know, he does pelvic thrusts and upside down pelvic thrusts. It's like you're adding stuff into this that you're kind of ruining a perfect thing here.
You still got to keep it professional is I think what you're getting at, more or less, right? It's like when Chris Cormier used to do his belly dancing. I was never a fan of that. No, I don't like it. I don't like the belly dancing. I don't like the glute rolls. Like, I'm just like, no, I'm sorry.
Glute
I don't think that fit. Exactly.
I didn't hate the Lucas Osladill glute roll when I saw a video the other day of him doing
awesome. I think that's incredible.
And I was like, that's insane, because and he was so detailed. That was at the Vancouver Pro when Hardy, Nathan Diasha, Ian Valier competed there.
2019.
Third or fourth there. Yep. He was in great shape at that event.
Yep, he was
shredded.
See that? I do think that is cool how he does that. He picks up his leg first. Did you guys ever notice that he does that first?
Yep.
He does that to get that muscle activated, and then he pushes it down, and then it's like, I used to be able to do that with my delt. Like when I do the side chest, I could still do it a little bit, but not nearly. But yeah, that's I think that is pretty cool.
Obviously Joe Svetics, the one that passed away.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Remember how he had the chest thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
When I'm in condition and I yawn and I'm like really tired and I'll yawn really hard, mine will do exactly how he's looked. Like it will look mental, and I've never videoed it and now I'm not muscular enough at this minute.
Lean enough.
But
you probably still got the muscle, you're just not lean enough.
Oh, I know I'm lean now. I am lean. too lean. Yeah, I am lean. I'm very lean right now, but I could still do it now and you'd see it. But when the muscles, bursting, sort of like when I've got 15 more kilos of muscle on my frame, it's like I would yawn and just look in the mirror and be like, that just looks just like Joe Spedick's, like maybe not quite as impressive because he had probably a bigger chest. But I'm like, I wish I could just do that on stage and just go like and just do it on command. But I've tried to figure out how to do that and I can't. But I don't know how we got onto that.
There must be some sort of recipe leading up to it, like training exactly the right.
Well, he had a disease which was called what was it called? It was that was why he was able to do it. And I'm like, do I have a mild case of that? I think it's called rippling muscle disease. That's what they dub it as.
Yeah,
and,
believe it or not, Ripley's believe it or not.
Exactly. But yeah, he had that disease, and I always wondered if that played any part in what ultimately happened to him, which was unfortunate. But obviously, there's speculation about different things, which we probably shouldn't mention on here, unless you want to get banned.
Yeah, no more bans. I don't want to see any more bodybuilding channels get banned. But I know what you're talking about because I've felt it before. It's like a really it's a cross between a stretch and a yawn, and you just get like a flutter or a shake kind of thing. I know what you're talking. I've had it, dude. Yeah, I've felt it before. I have, and especially it's through the chest. It's a crazy thing to be able to do that on stage would be pretty nuts. I could see like Kai Green doing that through the things that he used to do. I could see it. Yeah, something like that. That would be impressive. It would be, but
sure.
No, but anyway, like you were saying, I would like to see the men's physique guys be able to show off a little bit more. I am glad that they capped them at where they're at when it comes to the actual physiques, because it was getting it's impressive and I enjoyed it, but it was getting out of hand.
You might as well just watch Classic.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I do. I don't follow men's physique. I can, look at the majority of bodybuilding channels out there on YouTube, right? Nobody covers men's physique really. Like not Hart McGrath.
You'll have
does.
the odd channel that just
That's
covers it. That's about it.
Hart McGrath. And Hart McGrath was, and he still is, even though he got demonetized. His channel is awesome, dude. Like he has a great channel, and it's just men's physique. It's not just the physiques that he covers, though. It's the actual stories leading up to this. He quotes the guys on the things that they say, the banter back and forth. Because let's face it, men's physique is a little bit more drama oriented as well, right? Between the competitors, it seems. It just seems to be the way it is. But yeah, I did start getting into a little bit more men's physique because of Hart McGrath's channel. Shout out to Hart McGrath for sure.
So he is still making content then.
He's still making content, yeah. I don't know exactly what happened when it comes to him being permanently demonetized, but Sanch knows, I think, if he makes it. I don't think Sanch is going to make it, but
how much longer are we going to go? Gonna go on here?
I don't know. You ready for fucking bed?
No. I was actually just going to go use the washroom real quick, if that's all right.
Yeah. Get a piss, go for it, man.
If we're going to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes, I can wait, but
go piss. Go for it.
Wait for Sanch. It could be
I don't know.
Two bathroom related stalls here at the EPzeronine.
Yeah, there's been a lot of piss and shit happening here.
We're turning into bro chat.
Oh fuck! I got a I had somebody in the comments of one of the last podcasts that said that we were just trying to rip off bro chat, and I was like, I'm not trying to rip off anyone, man. I just get on and I just rip, like in general, like I don't know, trying to talk some bodybuilding and shit like that, but I'm not trying to rip off anybody, man. I mean, it's just kind of the way that it goes here.
Yeah, man, let me tell you something. A lot of people said that about my channel when I started a podcast, and I was wanting to do it for a long time, but I didn't, because I used to be obviously with Hostile and stuff, and I didn't want it to come across as a copy. But obviously he had guys that had been on his podcast, but were no longer on his podcast. And when you look at how many of the top names that he had currently on his podcast at that time, and then the names that were previously on his podcast, Nathan Dasher, Brett Wilkin, all these guys, I'm like, well, I'm not going to deliberately avoid those guys because I thought they were brilliant on his podcast. So I'm going to ask them if they want to do a podcast, whatnot. And I just knew what was going to come in terms of people being like, the whatever version of bro chat or the whatever version of, you're just copying me. It was a lot.
It was a lot, Yeah.
Abusively message me, like abusive about it, like random people, And it's quite funny because a lot of people have said, you were just copying bro chat. And I'm like, we're not talking about really the same things. Like we'll talk about the odd off topic thing, but not too much. And it's funny because when I was with RXmuscle Australia, so I basically sort of franchised the RXmuscle name.
You were
Palumbo.
RXmuscle Australia. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I did that, we had a show called Aussie After Hours, which, I said, Dave, do you mind if I call it Aussie After Hours? Because he had his after hours show. And he said, yeah, of course. And then I started that. It was 4 of us on there. It was not video, it was audio only as a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
But there was 4 of us, and it was almost an exact replica, but this was prior to Bro Chat and all those ones, almost an exact replica of that show. And I was always wanting to do an off-topic one, and I avoided doing it because Fuad had his. I'm like, if I do the same thing, even though I've done it previously, people are going to go, you copied. And I really shouldn't have ever worried about it. And it's something that I've thought about bringing back, where it's almost all exclusively off-topic chat as something completely different. Because some people go to Fuad's and they'll want to hear more bodybuilding stuff, and they complain. They go, oh, you only talk about this. But because it is through a bodybuilding channel, and they sort of sprinkle a bit of both in there. But I was, even thinking about just doing one completely off topic, but with bodybuilders. So it's like people see the other side. And that's why people love Fuad's one, because one, you want to have a laugh, and he does create that environment like you're hanging out with the guys, and people love that. And people love that community feel of it and know they're all friends and all that sort of stuff. But I understand why people give blowback on Fuad's, because some people like myself, I listen, equally for the bodybuilding and the other stuff. But I understand if you want to go there and listen to bodybuilding and they're talking about other stuff for 40 minutes straight, 2-hour podcast, you're going to be like, they're only talking about this. So yeah, if I was to do it, it would be 2 separate entities. Like there might be some bodybuilding chat, but the primary focus is off topic and just about the characters that are on it. But yeah, it's quite ironic that I'm like, I had a show almost identical, because we would do first part of a show was just off topic random talk, and then it would just turn into listener questions. And when we started those listener questions, we had a certain amount of people that would always ask like 2 to 3 questions, and we'd ask most of the questions listed, more 75% of them. And a lot of the questions went the way of like Fuad's type questions. Like we literally had talked about the same thing they talked about, like wiping from the front or the back. We talked about, we got like one of the guys' partners on. We got all this stuff off her about him, but he puts a pillow over his face when they're having sex and stuff like that. Like he put a pillow over his own face. And so then it became a whole thing, and it became insanely popular. Like people love that content, because we were in the top 10 in Australian podcasts or something like that at one stage, or top 10 of sports-based podcast. I can't remember what it was, but it was getting good views too. But it just, a show like that can divulge a bit and get a bit, go too far, and it sort of fell off. Someone said something, and it just, all good now. I'm good with all these guys now, but it's it's definitely a genre of stuff that can be very popular. It's the Fuad's taken the Joe Rogan model, in a way, but put his own bodybuilding twist on it.
I have never thought about copying or emulating anyone when it comes to this podcast. My initial thought of starting this podcast was actually to do exactly what we're doing right now. And that was to get YouTube commentators of bodybuilding together to be able to mainly talk about bodybuilding, but just for people to be able to know and have a better understanding, and just to get a little bit of experience behind how we do things as YouTubers that cover bodybuilding, rather than the IFBB pros, or the big coaches that are out there, shit like that. Even though we do have some pros on with us as well, primarily
you've got a few big pros on here.
Yeah, I've had a couple on, right? And maybe I should be diversifying mine more of like there's the bodybuilding breakdown, and maybe that should be more of the interviews with the pros, and maybe I should do something else when it comes to what we're doing here. I don't know. I just put everything under the bodybuilding breakdown right now, right? I was actually originally thinking about calling this, where all of us YouTubers get together. I was thinking about calling it YouTubers Unite, but I was like, it's a little bit too confining. I thought, right? Because I don't want to just confine it to us YouTubers, even though that is kind of the primary goal of having all of us to be able to give our perspectives and, our interactions and things like that, because there's really not anything else out there outside of I can't think of any other podcast that has, regular YouTubers like us that cover bodybuilding on a regular basis that aren't like pros or top level coaches or whatever industry experts. Like this is what I wanted out of this, and I'm getting it. So anybody that doesn't like it, dude, I mean, check out the other podcasts. They're all out there and they're all great. I enjoy all of them. And
Yeah.
I watch everybody's channel, because I just that's what I do. I get up and my background noise is often, either one of your videos, Mark, or it could be yours, Xavier, or Sanch has been
Joe
posting a
Rogan?
ton of content. I don't listen to a ton of Joe Rogan anymore.
No.
It's funny when you mention that to Elon Musk podcast, though, because I remember that podcast. That was an awesome, awesome podcast. He called it the Not a
I love it.
Flamethrower. It was sick, man. Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
sick.
love that.
Especially at the time, because Elon Musk had so many promises that he could back up with, kind of rational thought of why he would be at Mars on this date and why these electric vehicles are going to work, and the underground tunnel system
Neuralink.
that he was trying to you're yeah, all these, and Neuralink put a chip in a human brain now. So
Yeah,
they're
they've
he
started
doesn't
it.
meet his timelines, but he is delivering. He's ambitious.
Yeah.
Maybe overly
Well,
ambitious.
the tunnel thing was crazy too. Like he's like, oh, it's actually not that hard. We just got
Yeah,
a basic
it's
permit and we
yeah.
dug down X amount of miles. I'm like, what? I'm like, you can just
Eh,
do that? Like, but it was so interesting hearing from a man himself. And I love like the thing I love about hearing Elon's interviews is the fact that Joe will ask him a question and he'll sit there and he just you can tell the answers coming out of him are well thought out. Like he sits there and go, well, really, I don't, he'll take time to think about it. He's not just, sometimes when people, they're being interviewed and they'll be answering as they're asking the question, they're not, you can tell they're not thinking about it. It's just word vomit, like word diarrhea. I mean, like, I think, I don't know if you guys have seen the clips, but like Kamala Harris and stuff like that, like the word vomit. And she's like, she said one thing and she's just talking and just saying words. I'm like, this is not making any sense. And then she just makes a joke at the end. She's like, because as they say, it comes in the morning. And I'm like, I don't understand anything of what she just meant or said. And it went for like 2 minutes. I'm like, what is happening? So it's like, I'm not endeared to those people that just verbal diarrhea, even though I talk a lot, but I have some substance to what I'm saying.
It's funny because
I know
Joe's kind of like the opposite of that. Joe will kind of
Joe Rogan or Biden?
Joe Rogan. He'll say something that's not necessarily stupid, but he'll suggest something. Well, couldn't it be that way or something? He doesn't really care if it's. But then Elon, he knows everything he says is going to be. No, he said it. He said it. Whereas Joe, he's like, yeah, but I said maybe, or he said I think, or
Well, Joe Rogan's job is to keep the conversation going, right? But
exactly.
there's actually there's an ancient Stoic saying. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. And Elon Musk, he'll listen first and then he'll speak, just so that you can tell. It's so that he'll have that firm understanding of what it is that he wants to, like we were saying earlier, wanting to portray a message, right? He'll take the time to think about it. And the only other guy that I've ever seen, well, not the only one, but the other one that sticks out for me is, I talked about him a couple different times. Master Shihung Yi, Grandmaster or Headmaster of the Shaolin Temple Europe. That's what these guys do, right? They get asked a question, they stop, they think, and then they respond. And it's an odd thing to kind of have that few seconds of nothing, right? Of just these guys sitting there. It's like, well, why is it like, isn't this like considered one of the fucking smartest guys out there? Like, why can't he answer the question just like the smartest guy out there knows this is what I need to do? And he's probably got so much happening there that he really needs to sort through it all himself too, right? You got to think about that. But no, man, that was one of my favorite interviews probably of all time. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that first one he did.
Yeah, it's definitely up there for me.
The only thing with that, I don't remember if it was the first one or the second one, when Joe Rogan offered him that rollie, and he took a puff of that. There was people
Tesla
at
stocks.
yeah, people at Starlink. I don't know if it was Starlink or Tesla or whatever. Like instantly quit, put out public statements that they don't support that. Yeah, the money just dropped off, and he was like, "What the fuck is going? Like, why?" You know?
Well, it bounced back and went higher than ever, man. Like that's the thing. And stocks in companies are so based off like all these guys that have huge amounts of money or huge amounts of stock of Tesla. They're going to go, how's this going to be perceived? Okay, I'm going to dump my stock now and I'll buy back. Like some people off him doing that on camera would have made millions of dollars because they would have gone, okay, he said that, sell, okay, buy back now. Sweet, I made like 1.2 mil. You know, that would have happened 100%. And it's all about like public perception. Like same thing like Facebook recently, well, this is a bit more makes sense. But Facebook reported, really high earnings. Facebook stock went like straight up. When you look at the stock of Facebook, there is a point of time, whenever it was, I can't remember how long ago it was, but it's recent. It just goes like almost in a direct line up, like a huge amount. So it's just so much just comes across as like public perception and all that sort of stuff. But what you were saying before about the waiting to give your answer, the reason why I think some people are hesitant, well, the reason why I've sort of am a little bit hesitant to sometimes wait to answer is because one type of person that does that is someone who is like Elon, thinks about his answer and then conveys it. And then you've got people that are, I suppose, maybe manipulators or whatever, and they think about how they really just want to be perceived. Like I can read through it, but I don't know if everyone can. And it's funny, like I think most people can sniff out people's bullshit, but then I've seen people really believe people. I'm like, you really think this guy's legit? Or you really think this person's legit? I'm like, I can see it. I can see what's going on, but then other people are just completely oblivious to it. Like some people might even take Elon as like, why does he take so long to answer? He's thinking too much. He's whatever. But I actually admire it. Like I watched that interview and I admired it. I'm like, maybe I'll try to take a leaf out of that book. I don't know if I have at all whatsoever, but my intention was because I'm like, sometimes I do just say stuff without thinking, without really putting thought into what I'm about to say. And then I'll just say what I think straight away. And then I'm going, but also, and I'm sort of doing it while I talk. I'm like, maybe I should just take 3 seconds and just go, well, yeah, like, and then start talking. But I don't know.
And it can depend on the topic at hand, if you're an expert in that field or if it's something that's catching you off guard. Anyway, there's all kinds of different situations. Either way, to take the time to think about what you want to say first will serve you a world of good. It certainly will. Putting it into practice can be difficult, but it was no different than when I first started coming on camera. Some of the first podcasts that I did was with, well, Mark, you and Sanch. I originally went on Sanch's Two Bros One Pod and did that a few times, and then I started doing my own, where Xavier, you were on in the early days of it, which wasn't even that fucking long ago. But then it was like, well, and then I was like, well, now I'm gonna get I'll get Tony O'Burton, I'll get Charles Griffin. And I was like, well, these guys are the best of the best. I was like, I'm still kind of new at what I'm doing. I was like, I got to get my shit together,
Yeah.
And but I did, I was prepared for when those guys came on the channel. I knew what I wanted to talk about, and I could always roll with it too, right? I was always pretty decent with stuff like that. So, but like I said, it's taking the time to really think about what you want to say before you say. And I think we fucking harped on that enough, really.
Yeah.
People get it.
but it's, I mean, I find it interesting. I don't know if other people do, but yeah, it's yeah, I find it interesting.
It is. It is, man. It is, because it's something that if once you master stuff like that, it just makes life a lot easier to navigate, and life can be difficult to navigate, to say the least. So it is interesting stuff. And I really found myself getting more into this, self-realization shit within the last, I don't know, couple of years, when, life started getting stressful and not. It's good stuff to be aware of. It is.
How old are you?
36.
Yeah, we're on that same sort of timeline, man. I'm 34, so it's like you hit certain ages, it actually saw something funny the other day. It's like when you're in your 20s, like early 20s, late 20s, then early 30s. I'm like, yeah, I can relate every step along the way of what certain
Yeah,
things
yeah,
you go through mentally. Like you reach, once you're into your 30s, you start thinking a bit different. And then they say once you get to 40, and then once you get to 50, and I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Like it makes sense as to where you go through that. You start thinking about life more, and what legacy do I want to leave? Do I want to, you sort of think, like, being a father as well. You think, I want to be a great father. I want my kids to think this of me. But then you go through a certain stage in your early 30s. It's like, well, what's the purpose of life? Why are we here? You go through all this sort of random stuff, and it depends on your circumstances and everything. But it's some people as well, I don't think are so introspective. I think like you definitely are, and Mark, you probably are as well. You probably have, deep sort of thoughts. Some people are very like surface, they'll go to work and come home, and I don't think they think too deeply about too many things. And I envy that in a way, because sometimes I think, do I spend too much time thinking about my existence and not just living in the moment and things like that? But I think it's something you go through when you're in your 30s. I don't know. How old are you, Mark?
42.
Oh, you look young for your age. So yeah, you've been through your 30s,
And I didn't have
yeah.
to
He
think about
knows.
that.
You didn't have to.
No, I said I didn't have to think about the answer.
Oh, the age.
No,
The other day,
that's
I
when
had
you
to
know.
ask someone. I'm like, I had to ask someone how old I was the other day. I'm like, am I 34 or 35? I'm like, wait. I had to do the maths. I was like,
When it's
Yeah.
closer to my birthday, like when it's halfway through the year, then sometimes I might forget. Like I only turned 36 back in December, so it's still kind of close. So I don't.
mm,
I do have those moments too, though. You're not alone there. No, you're not alone there.
okay, good, good, good.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I
let
found
me
like
ask you.
from 38, you start to kind of things are harder to do, like keep your abs in shape and things like that.
Yeah,
And to keep a pump in the arm, you know what I mean? Like just things like that.
I'm
Just
still
I
doing
have
harder.
heard
okay.
that.
I'm
But
still doing
everybody's
okay
different.
there.
Everybody's
I'm
different.
still I'm still doing fine. I still get good pumps, man. I'm still like I can still get lean. Like I'm getting as lean as I
Oh, you
was
can still
last
get
time I really
lean.
checked.
You can still
Oh
get
yeah.
lean. It's just harder at that. Like I said, 30. That was for me. And I hear a lot of
Yeah.
people rate 38, 39, 40. It's,
Yeah. I'm not there yet, I guess. I guess I still got a couple years until the eventual, downfall
everybody's
of
different. Everybody's different though.
maybe I'll just stay,
Mm.
a decent shape forever. That'd be great. For on- once I get to those low levels of test, I'll probably just do TRT and call it TRT like everybody else does and do a little more.
Yeah,
Right?
do 600, 600 a week, 30.
Yeah. Just cruising, man. TRT.
Whatever Stallone's on, man.
Oh my dear Lord. Man, that guy's still incredible. Incredible,
He
man.
looks unbelievable. He actually got busted when he came to Australia because he brought
Yes, he did.
GH in. Yeah,
Yeah,
Did he?
that's right. Back in like
yeah, it's a big deal.
2006.
I don't know if it was a script or what. I think he did have a script for it, but in Australia, because I know when, oh, I don't, yeah, I probably shouldn't mention who just in case, but they came into
No.
Australia from America and they had a script for, I believe it was testosterone and I believe it was DECA as well, from a clinic over in the US. And they had a bit of paper that said, or like their script or whatever it was, like, look, my name on it, blah, blah, blah. In Australia, though, it has to be printed onto the bottle. So you have to have whatever medication you have, no matter what it is, it has to be on like a sticker where it says your name and everything on it.
It can't
Otherwise,
it can't just be like a
it
paper prescription.
nah. So they
Oh,
got it taken
okay.
off and they tried to argue it, but then they're like, yeah, maybe don't argue it with Australian customs. You don't want to get in that sort of you don't want that smoke. So,
No.
but yeah, it's we're crazy out here. I mean, when Dave Palumbo came out once, he
Yeah.
came out here and they're just like, as soon as he walked in, it's like they knew he was coming. They knew all these pro bodybuilders were coming in. They just saw Dave and they're just like, over here. And then Dave's just overtly on it. Like he's just like going to be so honest with them as well. And he was all good, fine to go, all that sort of stuff. But they were really like questioning him. Like they took him into a room straight away. It was like he didn't do anything wrong, but probably maybe because back in the day he went to jail for a short stint, and things like that. So maybe it's that. But yeah, they're strict out here. They're real strict.
Yeah, yeah. Anything like that, you're gonna Dave would be an easy guy to headhunt when it comes to that too. Like you said, the guy's got a record. The guy was probably pretty decent size at that time. Obviously, he's sauced up, right? So I mean,
He's
that'd be an
huge. He's
easy.
massive.
Oh man, unbelievable! One of the original mass
Yeah,
monsters, man. Palumbo was. I always did have respect for that guy because of that, man, and obviously his vast knowledge of bodybuilding and giving back to the bodybuilding community with RXmuscle and putting no quality supplements. The guy's just all around. He's really good for bodybuilding. You know.
100%. I love Dave. I actually spoke to him on the phone today, like just earlier. So he's
Yeah, I
he's
saw I saw
he's
you on
a
you
good
were
dude.
on Heavy Muscle Radio.
Yeah, I was on there a few weeks ago. I'm trying to think. I was on there 2 weeks in a row because
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know if you saw where they were grilling me because I said something about I spoke to Harney. Did
yep,
you see that?
yeah. I
Yeah, so I
did.
spoke
Yeah.
to Hardy. And they're like, come on. And I actually had to go somewhere. And I said that to David. He's like, don't bullshit me. He's like, get on here. And then so I got on. And I didn't have any tangible information. It was more like a, you know, circle back with me in a few days, nothing's confirmed, sort of thing, something like that. And so I said, oh, I spoke to Hani. I'm like, all be or I'll say something in a few days or something like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
then they assumed I knew and I got on there. And it was funny. Like Dave said at the very end of the episode, he's like, oh, and thanks to Xavier Wills for coming on, even though you told us absolutely nothing. This is so funny. So I love Dave because like you being Australian, especially, you he calls it breaking balls. He's like, we break
Yeah,
balls. We call it
yeah,
taking the piss. So
yeah,
it's the same thing. So we're like, we take Australians a lot of the time take the piss out of each other. Like if you've got a mate, I mean, people do it in America and other countries, but we are probably a bit more brutal with it, maybe. And I'm not someone who does that a huge amount, to be honest. I'm just not in my nature. I'm a more of a calm, chill person. But at the same time, if I've got a close mate with me or something, I'll still bag them out about something,
oh
all
sure,
in good
yeah, yeah,
fun. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
So it's yeah, we like that here. So we get it. So I get Dave, but I know some people just think Dave's like an asshole or something. And he'll be having a joke with someone, and I think he's being a complete asshole. I'm like, that's not Dave. Like when you know someone personally, it's not who he is. Like he doesn't have ill intentions for people. He might do the odd drama video and stuff like that, but so do I. Some people don't like that, but
Yeah, he's
who cares?
vasculating or whatever you call it. Ventilating or whatever you call it.
He's
yeah.
vascular.
He
Oh
is.
yeah,
He is
he is
extremely
vascular too.
He
Yeah.
is. Yeah, he is extremely
I saw Dave
vascular.
when Dave came out to Australia. Him and Aaron Singman stayed at my house in Tasmania. So they
Yeah,
came and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
stayed with me, and Dave was like in the middle of my kitchen, and I think he was like too warm, and he just rips his t-shirt off, and he had more muscle than he has on his physique now, even though he's bulked up a bit lately. And he just had like these veins through his chest that were like
Cord.
huge. I was just like, whoa, he is shredded. And he wasn't even like watching his diet or anything, just
No, he's just an
naturally
animal. Yeah.
peeled and vascular.
I put him
But
on my
I know
video of
Mark, you didn't mean that.
I put him on my video of the most vascular bodybuilders.
Yep,
I still got to watch that.
He
I got to watch
he was
that.
the
Yeah.
yep,
only he was the only non-pro that I put on there.
Ah, I like it.
yeah, yep. Nah, he was, man. Like just then and
His
still is.
legs,
Like he's
his legs were covered.
he's
Yeah.
just insane. Xavier, you should.
Did you put? Sorry,
Oh,
no, you
yeah,
go,
go
Mark.
ahead.
You
Go
go.
ahead.
I was just going to ask Mark. Oh, you're not Mark. I was going to call you Mark a second ago. But I was just going to ask Mark, did you have Frank McGrath in there as well?
No, I didn't. No,
I was wondering that because it's
I
like based on my
limit it.
forearm.
When I do those videos, I just kind of limit it to open. He's the classic physique guy, right?
No, he used to be open. He did all the Animal Pack ads back in the day, like all the animal
Yes,
ads,
Frank
and
McGrath.
he had the crazy
Yes,
thick
yes, yeah.
forearms, and he's got all those ones like Lee Priest where he's flexing his forearm.
Yeah, I'd have to see his picture.
You'd probably know if you saw him. He
Yeah,
he
yeah,
trained
yeah.
with Callum
There's
Von
not
Moger
too
a little
many.
bit back in the day. I think he did one
Yeah,
Olympia, maybe. Did he? One Olympia?
I gotta look it up now. Hold on a second.
Yeah,
Frank
look up
Take
McGrath.
a
Frank. Yeah.
take a look. But Xavier, I got one question. Maybe you know the answer. Palumbo stopped doing muscle in the morning.
Oh, has
Why?
he? Yeah.
He hasn't
Well,
done that.
I'll be honest.
Yeah,
It wasn't getting huge views. So like with anything that goes on your channel, and I've thought about this with podcasts as well. I thought about doing my podcasts on a separate channel, and I was literally thinking about this last 24 hours and being like, should I do a like interviews and podcast channel, like desktop interviews or desktop podcasts or something like that, or a separate bodybuilding university channel, just to keep that content separate? Because like those interviews I did with Derek Lunsford, I thought like those part 1 and part 2.
You thought they were going to hit.
I
right?
wasn't sure, but the content was really good, and I did it really well. And it's like you get 4,000 to 5,000 views.
Is that what you got? 4 to 5?
And videos a week prior that were bodybuilding news videos, I had 2 that got like
30,000. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been doing really good lately.
Man, really good. Yeah.
It's just confusing that you have that content, but I think people come to my channel for that content, specifically the bodybuilding news. And when your own subscribers don't watch those videos as much, because it is a commitment sitting down for 45 minutes or 40 minutes watching a video, so people are less likely to click it. But if people were subscribed to that channel just for long form stuff like Fuad's, because I think even Fuad's, when he had videos on his channel that were bodybuilding news, which were being done by, his name
AJ Kelly Robert
right now.
AJ Kelly
AJ.
Robert.
They were being done by AJ. They weren't getting good views at all for how many subscribers he's got.
So like, it is what, it's what
15,000 views, 15,000 or whatever. And then I would notice the next podcast that Fuad put out would not hit as much, because it's a divert, like that video that actually got put out, even though it got 15,000 views or whatever, I think it actually took away from the next video. So sometimes when I put out a few of my other videos, which are podcast style or whatever, then the next video, it still can hit, but I feel like it's got slightly less chance.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. I'm
and it's frustrating.
I'm making a decision, and I'm probably going to initiate that decision my next fan request Friday, that I'm not going to do the ones that they didn't vote for, because the same thing happens when I just did a Nathan Diasha versus Akeem Williams comparison, and it was the last voted one, and I swear I have a lot of videos that keep getting like old video or like views, and when I do a video it does good, they kind of stay up. As soon as that one went out, all the views went down.
Yeah.
So
that's very smart.
I like to do the videos for the guys, but when it comes down to not being able to get views, the ones that I should, like the long-term videos that I do, they're great. They're great. And I'm constantly working on them. So I like to try to do at least one comparison per day, but it's when it's actually hurting my long-term views. Why?
Look, I understand completely. I mean, this podcast doesn't get near the views of what my news videos do, right? Like I'll get they'll be somewhat comparable because I'm still kind of a small channel, right? But I mean,
that's where it can help you. That's where it can help you. If you do,
that's
like,
where I'm establishing it now.
If you continue to grow both your podcasts and your news, as long as they're both growing, I think you should be all right. But
I think trying to add in a new podcast to your channel, which already has a sort of a brand and what people have come to expect. It's like if Nick Strength and Power started doing a long form podcast, it might get 20,000 views or something,
maybe,
but his average video maybe gets 100 and something thousand views. So it's like, and then does that bastardize his normal content?
And that's why he doesn't do too many. He'll put one out every once in a while. I owe it. I got to hand it to him. He did one on his old man, and he knew his dad. His dad was a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And he knew that was going to bring his views down. That's why he doesn't do it, but he went and did it anyway.
And NSP is a guy that I'm puzzled by and slightly frustrated with, to be honest, because he doesn't you don't hear from him within this community of bodybuilding commentators. Even the larger channels, like, you never see him on anybody's channel. He's never been on Fuad's, he's never been on RXmuscle, like the biggest channels out there. Even
I think he might have been on RXmuscle back in the day. I think
so. One time.
Yeah,
Maybe
back in the day, like
way back,
years and
right?
years ago.
For the most
Yeah.
part, this guy keeps to himself and just makes a lot of Pokemon videos, and make
Hmm.
Pokemon videos. That's great. I like, look, dude, I grew up with Pokemon cards. I'm not ripping on the content
Hmm.
that he's making there. And he enjoys making it. That's great, and me and Krishan were talking about this too. Once you get to a certain level, if you have the ability to have one channel successful, two channels, three channels, four channels, there's a model there that many YouTubers have followed, and it works great, right? But I would like to see Nick be a little bit more involved with what we are doing here. You don't hear from him at all. He's not
Yeah.
on any other platforms but his own. I don't understand it.
Hmm. I think we'd all love to see more from Nick in some other way, and it's actually quite funny. Like I've watched some of his videos on like his Nick Strength and Pokemon channel and stuff just out of interest, and because when I was younger, I used to be into Pokemon, and I had most of my cards stolen by a kid at school. Yeah, so I had
I
some
still
good
I still
cards.
got a lot of
I must
mine.
have missed the whole Pokemon thing, I guess.
You did.
No,
Yep. You were a
it
little
was
too old,
grade
Mark.
grade three for me. Grade three for me. So
Yep.
it was pretty early days, but
Crazy.
Yep.
yeah, it's like, and I'm into sports cards as well. And I actually ended up getting, I got one sports card. I got I don't know. Do you guys follow NBA at all or Nova Players?
I used to love NBA
Yeah.
back in like late '90s. I knew quite a few of them back then.
I
When the
remember
Bulls
Scottie Pippen. I remember Dennis
yeah.
Rodman. I remember Michael Jordan.
They were on
But
the
not
Bulls
really.
back then. They were on the
Yep.
Bulls back then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not really.
So I got like because I was collecting NBA cards for a little bit when when the card boom sort of went up a couple of years ago, like 3-4 years ago, whenever it was. And I was buying packs of cards, and they were expensive, but like some of them I would buy, and I can just hold that pack for a month and then sell it for an extra $300. It was pretty crazy. But I would sort of you'd always want to open them. You know what I mean? You'd always want to open them to see if you get a big hit. And I actually did in one pack, and I didn't realize it for a while. But it was a Luka Doncic, if you know who Doncic, Luka Doncic. He's one of the better players in the NBA now, one of the top probably three, you'd say. But this is when he was. It was his rookie card. So a rookie card is what you want because that's what's valuable.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it was a rookie year card, and it was a 1 of 10. So there's only 10 of them produced like that.
Yeah.
So it was numbered on the back, and I went 1 of 10. I'm like, oh, this card might be not $5. It might be like a lot more. And I didn't get it graded because when you try to get those cards graded, because of the card boom, it was like a year wait. So I'd have to send it to America. Then I was scared of like, if this goes missing, I ended up selling that card for 2.6K. Like,
really?
Yeah. So I listed it on eBay. Someone messaged me, and it was actually really sneaky what they did, because the eBay fees are huge now. Like they take like 20% or 15% or something crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's insane.
Wow.
And when you're selling something, I listed it for I think like 2.9 or something, or 3K. And this guy messaged me, and he just put his like Instagram handle at the bottom. It just said @ and then an Instagram handle, because you can't link your Instagram and stuff through eBay messages. So I'm like, looked him up, messaged him through Instagram, and he didn't even say message me on here because you can't even say that. I messaged him. He's like, look, I'll send you the money. I can't remember if it's 2.6 or 2.4 or 2.5, whatever it was. And he sent me the money, and
you're on your way.
I sent the card off. It was great. But I had that interest in sports cards and Pokemon. But I've watched him on there, and you get more of Nick on that channel than you get on other ones, because he's going live all the time and things like that. I would love on his normal channel if he went live, but at the same time, like we talked about, that might hurt his channel.
That's why I don't do the lives as much either, because
my lives suck. I did a live for
your lives
being out of the Arnold Classic.
Events.
Dude, when it comes to the competitions, your lives are killing it, dude. Killing it. When it comes,
they're the middle of a night for me. They're brutal. They're brutal sometimes.
I know. I know they
some
are.
nights I don't sleep.
Well, you do get commended for your commitment. You hear it from people, but it is kind of a tricky situation to not bring down your main channel content. And is starting another channel really going to take that content and boost it to the level of, or at least be of a comparable level of where your main content is now? If you get 1,000 views, if you get 5,000 views for the Derek Lunsford interview on your main desktop bodybuilding channel, would you get 15,000 on a separate channel once it's established, right? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if people are as interested when it comes to bodybuilding in the interviews in particular at all.
It's crazy. I don't get
I
it.
don't know. I
I've seen
love
you.
hearing from
I've seen
athletes,
Brandon
man.
Curry. I watched the Brandon Curry interview you
Sakes.
did, Xavier, and I'm like, why doesn't this have 100,000 views?
I know,
Yeah.
man.
And that's the thing. I see interviews now with people that have primarily interview type channels, and some of them can get huge views. Like if you interview Dorian Yates, you can get 400,000 views. Like
Sure
it's
you can.
not out
Sure.
of the question. And I know if I interview Dorian Yates on my channel, it would do bad. Like I'm not bad.
Crazy.
10,000 views
Crazy.
maybe. I mean, I've had videos that the interviews that have done best for me. The best one was Justin Shire when he spoke on what happened sort of with Hostile.
There was a
That
topic
there was
behind that.
Topic
strong
ones, yeah.
topic, strong interest. It obviously got people clicking, but I don't want every interview I have to do because it is also like what am I going to say? Derek Lunsford come on my channel and say, okay, can I say Derek Lunsford slams Nick Walker? No, I'm not going to say that because that's slapping Derek Lunsford in the face when he's given up his time to come on my channel. But
Well,
you know,
okay.
they all know that
Here's
I'm going to
something.
make it.
Here's something for you. You're into other sports, like you mentioned
Mm.
basketball. Do you watch basketball exclusively for the games, or do you watch interviews of players as well?
I listen to more. Well, this is the thing I struggle with because I do YouTube and I'm home most of the day. I'll listen to this stuff all the time. So, and I know that's not most people. So, for me, I watch way less basketball. I watch hardly any basketball, really, to be honest, like a very small amount. But I'll listen to the podcasts and I'll listen to, there's a guy, JJ Redick, who he's on ESPN, but he's also got his own podcast, former player. I listen to his interviews. I don't listen to all of them, granted, but I will listen to his interviews and I actually consume a lot less of the game than the actual content around it. And the same as Formula One. Like Formula One is the one thing that I'm like the two things that I really am sort of obsessed with is
You like
Formula
racing?
One. Yeah, I like well, not all racing, but Formula One, they have a series on Netflix called Drive to Survive. And that's
Okay.
what actually got me into it. And I sort of hate that I'm a Drive to Survive. That's how it got me into it because they sort of separate people into Drive to Survive fans, like they're, you know, the fans that got into it because of that Netflix series. But it was
Yeah.
based all around the personalities, you know, the stuff that happens around Formula One, you know, these two, you know, team principals sort of going at each other and calling each other out. And it's quite a political sort of thing because you've got guys that are trying to change for regulations. And then you've got the top guy from the top team, Christian Horner, who actually is married to one of the Spice Girls. But he's basically the
Yeah,
principal
nice.
of Red Bull. And he goes in there and he said something like, I think the head of Mercedes, Toto Wolff. So and they've all got just different personalities because Toto Wolff is like a business guy, a billionaire, and he's the head of it. And he sort of talks like a bit like Arnold, tall guy. I mean, he was complaining to the, I don't know if it's the FIA or the governing body or the Formula One governing body or whatever it was. He was complaining. And then, you know, this Christian Horner guy goes, maybe you should fix your car. Like, as in, like, your car's a problem, not the rules. And they sort of, you know, butting heads. And it makes it really exciting. And then you guys are trying to hold on to their racing seat and not get kicked out because there's only 20 guys in the world running Formula One, and that's the pinnacle. So it's really, you know, the personalities, the podcasts, and all that sort of stuff is what draws me in. And I love that content, you know, and I listen to the interviews and interviews with Formula One drivers. Obviously, it's a huge sport, but they do pretty damn well. And this is also the fact that this is on TV. So you can just watch Formula One on TV and get these interviews and not even have to go to YouTube. So if bodybuilding was on TV and regularly on TV and these guys were being interviewed on TV, short clips, and it was on like TV shows, we would get less views, 110%, because there's less of that like, oh, I'm trying to find what these guys are saying and what they're doing. So really, like my interviews with Derek Lunsford, with Brandon Curry and all that sort of stuff should be doing dramatically better than they do. And if I interview someone who's not a big name, it is going to get like 1,000 or 2,000 views. It's just, it is what it is, unless there is some drama. So that's where I've sort of realized more now that if I want to get big views on this stuff, I've got to start a new channel. Whether it's desktop bodybuilding podcasts, but it's hard to figure out what to call it, because I'd rather call it desktop bodybuilding. I'd rather call it bodybuilding university or something, because it just looks better rather than
Laptop
desktop bodybuilding podcast. Laptop bodybuilding. That sounds like it'd be shorter versions though for some reason. But
yeah, it does. Yeah, it
like,
does.
You don't want to go long form, because long form, we call a 10-minute video on YouTube long form, really. So it's like I'm trying to think of all these different ways to do it, and there's no perfect solution. And then I think, but what happens if YouTube sort of change the algorithm again, and then it doesn't matter whatsoever? Because it's
like I said, the question that I had was, do people even care about the interviews in bodybuilding to make it, to have the views be substantially more on a separate channel to begin with? Because I love seeing interviews of bodybuilders, right? I watch them all. And it's because I want to know what these guys are like, what makes these guys tick, not just even as a YouTube commentator, as a bodybuilding commentator. Just, I want to know what kind of training they've been doing, how much have they been suffering, all of these things, where do they train? How do they train? I want to know all this stuff, right? But it doesn't seem like a lot of the fans of bodybuilding really care as much. Like, if you compare like the views to a news video, a physique update, as compared to an actual interview, let's say that the physique update video in the news video is 10,000 views. The interview of that same bodybuilder might be 1,000. Does that mean that people really care as bodybuilding fans tenfold more about just the physique as compared to, actually learning about this person, or how they train or anything like that? It's a realization that I'm coming to the more that I've kind of, done this over the last almost a little more than a year now. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. I don't know if a second channel would do it for me, and not in the infancy of my channel. That's for fucking sure.
Yeah, I mean, for your channel, if I was in your position, I'd be doing it the way you're doing it now, and then just trying to build them both. And then if the podcast, if the interviews, if it's not something you enjoy, and then you go,
if it's dramatic difference, then you'll have to shift gears.
But I honestly think that if I had a channel, and just say, in order of interviews, just say I had on Brandon Curry, then James Hollingshead, then Derek Lunsford, then maybe say I had on Honey Rambod, who hopefully I'm going to get on for an interview soon, and just say I had, that sort of standard of names, on average, and then maybe Antoine Vaillant, going into a contest shortly before, have his physique update on there and all that sort of stuff. Because if I had a channel and it was like one a week of those guys, and maybe, I don't know if I'd put up like, a 10-minute clip of the interview, and maybe twice a week or whatever, like after the interview's done, or if I just leave it as the long form one a week. But if I had that, and then I had the Bodybuilding University podcast on there, and that's about it, I have a feeling that a channel like that would get dramatically more views. And I think people are interested enough. I just think that my viewers, because I get a message that says less regular viewers are watching this video, which is leading to lower views or something like that, or less reach or something. You guys have probably read that same thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Almost every interview I do, and probably 50% of the podcasts I do, I will get that message. And the click-through rate is like 6% versus a video where I'll get 16%. So it just gets slapped in the face, I feel like, and it just doesn't reach for right people.
I just don't know why. I don't know why it doesn't. If you're a fan of these guys, if you're a fan of the physique, I would think that you would even more so, want to know, how did they get that physique? That's what it comes down to for me. That's what it comes down to for me. So it's an interesting conversation. Hell, man, maybe nobody gives a shit about our analysis of this either. I mean, that's a time too.
Sometimes there's just no rhyme or reason for it. I'll see the exact same videos. Like if I do news videos, or you or Sanch or whoever, you'll see basically the exact same setup, even the same big names, but one will explode and one won't. It's like there's no rhyme or reason for it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the case
crazy.
too. Maybe that's the case. I can say with 100% certainty right now is that this allows me to get myself out there, being a faceless channel, of course, which I'm trying to move myself away from, more so. And it also allows me to, interact with some of the bigger names in bodybuilding so that my name is getting out there. So even if the views in the infancy of my channel are not as great, my name is still getting out there. So people will know me, right? And there's bodybuilders that do know me at this point, which is great. But I also get to come on and just, shoot the shit about bodybuilding with you guys, some of the guys that have been doing this forever, and that I was watching your channels this time last year as opposed to having my own or whatever, right? I get something out of it. And that is definitely as important for me when it comes to my channel, because, this is not my main source of income either, unlike you guys. So I'm lucky in that sense right now. Now, in a year from now, if, it comes down to the money, that might be a different story. But for now,
Different
I
story
definitely,
then, yeah.
I definitely get a lot out of this though.
But as long as
I do.
you're mindful about that right now, so you're gonna be better. Like
Yeah.
I had to drop a bunch of things. Like no, and it's
Yes.
not because I don't want to do these videos. It's just that I really cannot do women's bodybuilding videos. I can't do.
Sanch is the perfect example of, he was the biggest channel out there covering women's bodybuilding.
Yeah,
But the views just weren't there, man. He had to let it
he
go,
knew it. He knew it.
Yeah.
He knew
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's
But
just,
I mean, he was talking to famous bodybuilding female bodybuilders, and they were willing to go on his show. And
yep.
how are we supposed to say no to that?
And I
Yeah.
think that I wish that it did get more coverage than it does with women's bodybuilding, right? But that is that's one thing when it comes to views, it they're just not there. It's
crazy.
terrible to say,
100%.
but it is.
212.
Yeah.
I can't believe 212 really was everyone. I was showing you guys the statistics.
I was shocked.
I was losing
Dude, I was
subscribers.
shocked.
It takes like a really good one, like a Keon Pearson versus Kareth Bajo or something like that. You'll do okay, but they're the top ones. You do any other 212 division, even 212 division wrap-ups, prediction videos, negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Negative
unreal,
subscribers.
man.
I've experienced that.
It's unreal. Yep.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like you said, these are things that are recognized, and that's why, you continue to navigate these things successfully. You can continue to grow your channel. You can continue to do things like this, right? And it'll eventually get to a point where the right answer will be there. You have to be willing to try things as well, right? This is me trying things.
Yes. Yeah. You gotta
have to
poke out the odd idea, right?
Yeah,
Like
you
I
have
just
to.
did these editing ones, like the Superset Man style.
Yep.
Superset Man, like the editing ones, because I'm just learning that grasp of that. But those ones seem to do really well, and they take a long time to make. And I'm actually making one right now, but it's going to take me a few weeks because I was just working on one all week, or the last like two days I've been working on one video, and it might get out tonight. But I have another one I'm working on, like a Frankenstein build out of all the parts of an Olympia.
Yep.
I decided to go with 2020, so there's a little heads up.
Nice.
Mark, I watched your best torso in bodybuilding video.
Yeah.
That was a long one. I'm like, how long did that take? Because you'd have like 20 or was it all the Mr. Olympias, 18 or whatever it is now?
Yeah, 17
it
of
was
them.
Like, yeah, it was all lined up, and it's like I didn't agree with all of them, but it was actually really interesting. It was really cool and interesting to see all of the torsos, and when you just break off everything else. It did look very creepy as well. Like when you had just the torso sitting on there.
And there was like five different torso shapes too, because you had the back, 2 back, and 3 front. So five different for each.
Yeah.
So 5 times 17.
I was sitting in bed watching that before bed at night. I'm like, this is the most random video, but I really like it. Like I was like, I really like this for some reason. And then I'm like, I never would have thought to do the best torso, but it was actually really cool. I like
torso heaps. Yeah, some of them are just bizarre ideas that are anything but like clickbaity, But if they're interesting enough like that, I'll get my audience to be like sort of clickbait. Like if you're really into bodybuilding, it's like, oh yeah,
Yep.
I want to see who just has the best torso. But I did the best arm one first. I think was the best, or the first one I did.
Yeah.
They're always probably, did the best arm one perform better than the best torso?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah, I
fan
thought so.
request, right? So the
Yeah.
fans are pushing, they're the ones pushing me to do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like
Well, you take
even
direction from them, right? It's good.
the best, like the best body parts of the Olympia, I did 2023. Like I said, I'm going to do 2020 because the Coleman ones and the Phil Heath ones kind of are stupid because it's basically Phil Heath or Ronnie Coleman. Because all of his body parts, 2020 is better because you can take a little of this, a little of this guy, a little of that, and make a conglomeration.
Yeah.
Rather than the Coleman ones, like I said, are kind of 2003. It's 2003 Ronnie Coleman. Give him somebody else's abs.
It's the greatest physique to ever. Yeah, it's the greatest physique to ever be on a bodybuilding stage, hands down. It's never been defeated in any comparison that I've ever seen on your channel or Superset Man's channel. It hasn't been defeated, and I don't expect it'll be defeated anytime soon. It's the greatest physique. That's it.
2002 would lose against maybe
No.
Gunter.
2003 Ronnie Coleman,
No,
undisputed
2002.
champion.
2002
would lose.
No, 2003.
No, I'm saying 2002 could lose.
Oh,
Coleman.
2002 does lose to 2003 Ronnie Coleman.
Lost to Gunter Schlierkamp.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. There's arguments out there of 1999 Ronnie versus 2003 as well, but Gunter's a whole other thing.
Gunter actually did beat Ronnie in 2002.
He did, yeah.
The GNC show of strength.
Show of strength, yeah.
Yep.
It's funny. Ronnie the other day actually said his favorite physique. I think he said 98 or 99, Mr. Olympia. But people say, oh, that's my favorite physique of Ronnie, or that's the best, or whatever. But you put 99 or 98 on stage today with 2003 Ronnie Coleman. 2003 Ronnie Coleman, I think, would be so far too overwhelming that it would be given to 2003 Ronnie Coleman rather than a more aesthetic 99 or 98 Ronnie Coleman. Now, my favorite physique is the 98 or 99 or the 2001, maybe it was Arnold Classic.
Arnold Classic, 2001, yeah. Yep. 2001 Arnold Classic.
Cool. They're my three favorite physiques of Ronnie. Does it mean they would beat 2003?
He was pretty.
He was.
Well, the thing of it is, I think if anybody could beat 2003 Ronnie Coleman, it's going to be a lean aesthetic version of Ronnie Coleman. Not saying he does, but if you wanted to go into battle, like, yeah, buddy, I'm going to go into this guy. Who are you going to pick? You're going to pick 2003. Without a doubt. See, I think 98, 99 would be vulnerable against a Phil Heath, whereas 2003, too much. But then again, a 2001 Arnold Classic Coleman might be, with the structure, he has the same type of muscle, might be able to beat 2003.
Yeah, maybe. At the end of the day,
so big.
Now, the fact of the matter is, even the greatest, even the second, third, and fourth greatest versions of Ronnie Coleman are still the guys fighting for second, third, and fourth place against Ronnie Coleman for the greatest physiques to ever be on stage.
Yeah, he's the Himalayas, right? The tallest, the 10 tallest mountains in the world are all in the Himalayas.
2011 Phil Heath and 2013 Phil Heath as well. There's arguments there, but those are those are arguments that we can get into on another day. We've been here for almost 2.5 hours, boys. I'm gonna have to call
well, I've been here for half of it. Hey, I just wanted to say one thing before you finish up. Have you guys discussed the New York Pro and how crazy that lineup is?
No, I'm actually scared of doing anything because I did the Arnold Classic review way too early.
Yeah, because I've got a list here, and it's insanity. This is the names that I've either had confirmed or written down. I just wanted to quickly mention it because you mentioned it before about Keref Badjo and Keon Pearson and stuff. And a friend of mine from Australia, Aaron Polides, he's doing the 212, making his comeback, and he was 9th in 2019. He actually beat Angel Calderon there, the Olympia.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So he's doing it from Australia, making his comeback, and he's bigger. So he's going to be, I think, top 5 212 Olympia. You got Keref Badjo in there as well. So that could be like a bit of a battle, like for the win.
212 is going to be great then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you've got Angel Calder on. He's actually doing the Open, and he said Jay
Yep.
Cutler gave me advice.
Oh,
You got Quentin Araya, you got Nick Walker, you got Stuart
Quentin's
Sutherland.
doing the New York.
As far as I know, yeah. And then you've got Tonio Burton, you got Rafael Brandao, you've got probable Martin Fitzwater. He's probably going to do it. And then you've got Carlos Thomas Jr., who said he said, I'll probably do New York. He said
Martin Carlos would be an awesome matchup.
He said I'll probably do New York, but if not, he'll do a show after that. I think he maybe said Cali or something like that. So like, think about this. You would have Tonio Burton, 8th in the world. You've got Rafael Brandao, who's top 10 in the world the year prior, who's made improvements. Martin Fitzwater, who hasn't been tested at this level, but got second and beat like Steve Kuklo and a bunch of other really good guys. Good. Carlos Thomas Jr., who people say he can be top 5 in the Olympia. You got Nick Walker, obviously. That's 5 next level guys, and that's not even mentioning Quentin, Stuart Sutherland, Angel.
Oh, Stuart Sutherland. That's the other name you said.
Stu. Yeah. Yep.
Stu's going.
He's good, man.
See, this is so it's like this is like Prague Pro all over again.
I feel like this lineup is as good as the Arnold. Honestly,
I think
if all these guys show up.
I think he can add Robin Strand to that list if memory serves correctly. I'm pretty sure
that's a deep pool for him to jump into.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I know he's doing Toronto, but I'm pretty sure he said on the latest episode of Canadian Beef Podcast that he was going to hit a few shows, and I think New York is going to be one of them. Right? I'm almost. I'll go back and confirm that, but Yep, put a question mark on him. I'll go back and listen to it again. I know right where it was in the podcast, I'm pretty sure. So I'll check on that. But the New York Pro is going to be nuts. And as the season keeps rolling out here, I want to do like we were doing last year. Is we'll do a video like the way that we were doing it, Xavier, is I don't know if you watched our videos, but everybody would put out their own prediction video, right? Everybody puts theirs out, and then we come on the podcast. And then we'll go through the physiques, and then we'll kind of either reiterate our predictions, or if things have updated, changed around, whatever. That was kind of the way we were doing it. So as the shows keep rolling out, we'll probably get into that a bit more.
Yeah, I love that. We should actually have a standings, like see where each guy, like just say I pick Stuart Sutherland to get 3rd place and he places 5th. Then it's like you go -2 or something, and whoever has like the least away over the year, we should have some sort of, I don't know, everyone puts $50 in or something. And
get more points for picking first, though. As you do. If you got 2nd place right, it's like, but I got 1st place right. That's
it's like 5 points for first, 3 points for second. Points. Yes, exactly.
Now you have something here.
And how many you're away is just a little minus, so you can maybe have 10 points for getting first right and 5 points. And so that'd be cool. I'd like that system. We can log it, have like a spreadsheet. And, I like it. I'm a stats guy, so I love that stuff.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? Sanch is a stats guy too. So he'll be right into that. That's actually a really good idea.
We missed.
Yeah. He's a working man, right? We're snowed in here. Like there's no work happening right now, and it's late, so doesn't matter. Well, late for me. It's almost 10 o'clock. It's almost past my fucking bedtime is what it is.
Lunchtime for me. Lunchtime.
Yeah. For you it is. Yeah. No.
A day in advance.
Yeah. Xavier joining us from the future, as always.
Yeah.
Right through the earth, right on the other side of the earth from where we are.
Yeah. It's good.
I won't show you outside. There's like an apocalypse happening and stuff, being in the future and all that. No, I'm joking, obviously, but it's it's always weird. Like we have our New Year's Eve, and you guys are literally like still like it's New Year's Day, and you haven't even done New Year's Eve yet. And I'm like, oh, that's weird.
You guys are hungover while we're still drunk.
Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty much. Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, that's fucking funny. All right, boys. Listen, I'm gonna call it at that one. All right. We'll do this. Yeah, this was fun, man. Like I hope it does get views, but even if it doesn't get a single fucking view, I enjoy doing these with you guys. So I
forgot to show my picture.
Yes, sure. The Conehead Crizzo. I love this. You posted this in a group the other day. I'm like,
dude, it's awesome.
And lift it up a little bit so we can see the body too. Even the chest striations, that's exactly how his is. He has that deep line across there.
Arms
Yep.
too.
That's awesome.
Arm veins.
The arms are very
Yeah,
reminiscent of Crizzo, man.
like you can
It
tell
is.
easily that's Crizzo. Like if you ask me, I'd be like, oh, it's Koenig Crizzo.
I want Crizzo to comment on that picture. That's what I want to.
If you
I
do
want to
it
get his opinion.
properly, if you do an actual good picture of the physique and stuff, Krizo himself would probably think it's good and funny.
I think
Yeah.
he would think it's
Well,
good now.
Yeah. You should tag him in it and then make t-shirts with that on there. Like, get rid of the white background and then,
Ah,
like put that on a t-shirt.
yeah.
I
Be
used
like,
to. That's
Crizzo.
hilarious you say that. I know we're gonna finish up here, but one guy wanted to have this picture. I used to draw pictures of everybody on the ring, of a wrestling
Yep.
ring, like
Yep.
hilarious pictures. Bret Hart used to do the same thing, I guess. But I drew the boss guy. He actually run the place, and he had a big nose. I got a big nose too, so it's funny. I make fun of it. And I drew
Me
his
too.
big honker like that, and he used to get so mad. But one guy he
Really?
wanted to put it on a T-shirt. And he did get it put on a poster, but he never did put it on a T-shirt. It's funny.
Yeah, t-shirt would be cool. Like Conehead Crizzo would make it, I don't know, make it
That
some
would
sort of
be
bright
good.
colored t-shirt with an outline. Like maybe have that like what you've drawn there, like in white on like
Yeah.
a dark colored
Yeah,
t-shirt.
yeah.
That would look cool,
But
like a
I
navy,
don't know
like
how he
dark
would
navy
act it.
t-shirt.
I could tag
Yeah.
him, but I don't think he follows me.
Tag him, man. I'll go on your picture and
He
tag
follows Goat. He follows
Yeah.
Goat Fitness.
him. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I don't think he follows me. That's disappointing.
Nah, I don't
I
think
went on
he's
there. I went
commented
on there
on
the
it.
other day, and I seen he follows Goat. I
He's
think he follows
commented
you.
on a number of
Desktop.
my videos, but I
Does he?
don't think he does follow me. I'll have to check later. Yeah.
I thought he did. I thought he followed you, Xavier. I thought I
He
seen your
might.
name.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I'm actually getting EP09 t-shirts done up here soon. I've got a t-shirt order going in for my dive company. So I'm just getting another, I don't know, dozen or something just kind of tacked onto it or whatever, right? Just for fun. I'm not selling them or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Send one up to
I just
me.
want I'll send one to you for sure. Yeah.
Get rid of this
Yeah.
Bass
I would
Pro
ask you
t-shirt.
to send one to me, man, but it's not worth it. Your money. It's very expensive.
There could be ways there could be ways to make it cheap. We'll talk.
See how much it is, but Fuad sent me a box of t-shirts once, a smallish box like this from Canada, $250 Canadian. So I don't know if you want to mess with that.
We'll see. I've got some. He's probably got more ability to ship things internationally than I do, but I've shipped a few things but we'll see. I'll get them made, and then we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll see. If it's something under a small amount, then I can cover it. But yeah, I'm not paying $150 for shipping. Unfortunately,
Fuck that. No, fuck
yeah,
that.
it's wild.
I'll send you the logo. Get it printed yourself.
yeah, that'd be easier.
Yeah.
I can just do it through like Teespring. Like I've got like a Teespring account thing, and you can. That's what I'm going to do with my clothing, because it's so funny. So many things you've mentioned, or you guys have mentioned. I'm like, I was thinking exactly the same thing yesterday, like about the podcast and different channel. And I was literally thinking yesterday, I've got to get some t-shirts done, because I like the Bodybuilding University logo, but I need that to really be that podcast to be going again, which I'm discussing with people. And I'm just deciding whether it's going to be a new channel, because then you don't get the revenue from the ads and all that sort of stuff. So I'm like, I think it's worth it, because the revenue, honestly, like obviously longer form stuff, more money, but it's more money per view. But if you're getting 20% of the views, it's not really, doesn't really matter. So I think I'll just new channel that one. So everyone keep an eye out for that desktop bodybuilding podcast or whatever it will be. So
I like it. Who knows, man? I could be right behind you with another channel. Who knows?
Yeah.
No, it's all
EP
good.
pods.
All right, boys. EP. Hey, maybe you heard it here first.
Yeah.
All right, boys. I'm calling it at that. Thanks everybody for tuning in for another episode of the Bodybuilding Breakdown. Catch you guys next time.